Chapter 42. Along the way, they passed by many brightly lit towns and cities. Senior Marshal Brother Mo did not stop at all and continued to lead the way. Xiaofan sat between the two girls and enjoyed the gentle feeling. However, he did not let his guard down. Sometimes, he looked at Senior Marshal Brother Mo's back, and sometimes, he lowered his head and pondered. It seems that this demon has made up his mind to take action after we reach a certain place. He will not expose his identity halfway. Xiaofan squinted his eyes. His heart was filled with the excitement of subduing demons alone, and his blood gradually boiled. The strange thing that was dormant in his heart and the demon emperor's palm tattoo on his left arm were also throbbing. The peerless sharpness of Senior Marshal Brother Fong killing demons with just a thought was still imprinted in Xiaofan's mind. Although my cultivation is not as good as Senior Marshal Brother Fong's, I also hope to be able to face the demons head-on like him and kill them with ease. Xiaofan was both excited and apprehensive at the same time. Then, he thought, what realm is this demon at? If it is a rogue demon or a demon soldier, I am naturally not afraid. But if it is a demon general, which is equivalent to the true Qi realm in the human race, then I can only take these two girls and run away. Demon generals have a high status in the demon race. According to the books, some demon generals even have their own territories, like feudal lords, and will not easily leave their territories. The Fey that had disguised himself as Mo was probably not a Fey general. After all, high-level Fey like Fey generals would not deliberately disguise themselves and travel through the night just to deceive and devour a few physical body realm martial artists. If it is really a demon general, it is not a problem to show its true form, stir up trouble, and kidnap them. Xiaofan was quick-witted. As long as a true Qi realm martial artist does not show up, a demon general can easily slaughter a city. He can also easily escape. But I am not sure. Xiaofan suddenly made up his mind. Prevention is better than cure. I will take advantage of this time to practice the second style of the Son of Heaven's Divine Fist, Emperor's Armor. When the time comes, I will have one more life-saving trump card. However, at this moment, Xiaofan smelled a faint medicinal fragrance coming from behind him. It lingered around Xiaofan's nose and did not dissipate for a long time. Then, there was the sound of Jing Yanxue chewing. Xiaofan couldn't help but look back. Under the moonlight, Jing Yanxue held a pink porcelain bottle in her hand. She poured out peanut-sized scarlet pills from the bottle and stuffed them into her mouth. She chewed them slowly and enjoyed them very much. "Uncle, I'm eating some pills. Do you want some?" Jing Yanxue asked with a smile. As she spoke, a rich medicinal fragrance wafted out from her breath, making one feel intoxicated. "This. Miss Jing, what kind of elixir did you take?" Xiaofan was puzzled. The disciples of the Medicine King Valley were really different from the others. When they had nothing to do, they would take elixirs for fun as if they were eating candy. "Uncle, this is the snowbath pill. Bathing in snow spirit, using snow to wash the body, purifying the mind. After taking it, one's mind would be cleared of vulgar thoughts. A snowbathing pill could ensure that one would not have any distracting thoughts for several hours. Many sect disciples ask our Medicine King Valley to buy the snowbathing pill, to comprehend martial skills and even take it when breaking through." Jing Yanxue explained eloquently. "Uncle, this is the snowbathing pill that I refined myself. The medicinal quality is not very pure. It's just so. Do you want to try a few? This, such a good elixir. You're eating it for fun?" Xiaofan was shocked. "Uncle, give me your hand." Jing Yanxue shook the pink porcelain bottle in her hand, making a crashing sound. Xiaofan trembled as he stretched out his hand. Jing Yanxue was not stingy. She poured out 7 or 8 snowbathing pill from the bottle and smiled. "Uncle, try it first." Okay. Thank you. Then I won't be polite. Xiaofan turned around and gently picked up a snow-bathing pill from his palm. He slightly lifted the black cloth on his face and stuffed it into his mouth. After chewing a few times, a refreshing and sweet taste instantly suffused his mouth, and it was indescribably beautiful. In the next moment, this refreshing feeling that was like mint rushed straight to his head. Sure enough, it was washing away the distracting thoughts in his mind and nourishing his spirit. Good medicine. It's really good medicine. Xiaofan repeatedly praised in his heart and immediately stuffed another snow-bathing pill into his mouth. After eating 2 snow-bathing pills, Xiaofan's mind became more and more agile. As he breathed, a fragrant wind blew. He felt refreshed and light as if he was floating in the clouds. In the next moment, Xiaofan silently recited Son of Heaven's Divine Fist. In less than a breath's time, his heart spurted out divine runes, rays of light, and long rainbows. The 7 light cocoons that represented the Son of Heaven's divine fist slowly rose up. The second cocoon of light had already split open, forming a pattern with a few mantra incantations and a route of circulation. Son of Heaven's divine fist, second form Emperor's robe. Xiaofan's mind was immersed, forgetting himself and the outside world. With the medicinal power of the snow-bathing pill, he effortlessly entered into a state of cultivation. The Son of Heaven's divine fist focused on momentum rather than technique. This Emperor's robe forcefully absorbed the power of the surrounding heaven and earth and fused it into his body, increasing his defense and imposing manner. It also disintegrated the opponent's spirit and shook their faith. If this Emperor's robe was cultivated to the highest level, once it was used, the opponent would immediately collapse, kneel on the ground, and bow to the ruler and minister. They would even shout, "Long live the Emperor!" subduing the enemy without fighting. Moreover, from the sovereign descending to the world and the Emperor's robe, this Son of Heaven's divine fist had endless potential. As Xiaofan's cultivation increased, the realm of this fist technique, its power, and its realm would also become stronger and stronger. This was a fist technique that would not be eliminated. With the Emperor's robe, he would be impregnable. When he ascended to the throne, the 4 seas would rise in peace, and the 8 directions would be quiet. Xiaofan entered a state of enlightenment. No one, no me. After an unknown period of time, the dragon horse neighed and finally stopped. Xiaofan opened his eyes, and a sharp light flashed in his pitch-black pupils. The feeling of a sovereign descending to the world flashed. "Uncle, we're here." Lan Shirong turned around and smiled at Xiaofan. She immediately jumped off the horse with vigorous movements. "Uncle, did you fall asleep just now?" "Huh, you're really interesting. You can even fall asleep on the horse's back." Jing Yanxue also jumped off the horse. Xiaofan laughed and raised his eyes to look at senior brother Mo without batting an eyelid. Then, he also slowly got off the horse. Just now, with the help of a few snow bath pills and the experience of comprehending the sovereign descending to the world, Xiaofan was able to touch the Emperor's intent contained in the Emperor's robe. The flourishing of spring and autumn, calming the 4 seas. Now, Xiaofan could already use the Emperor's robe. However, his realm was not stable and his comprehension was not deep. He still needed to carefully polish it in the future to reach perfection. Senior brother Mo stood next to a dragon horse. Under the dim moonlight, the side of his face turned green and the corner of his mouth formed an extremely strange curve. "We're here." Senior brother Mo's tone was cold. It was night time. The place where they were at was the entrance of a small town. The stone tablet at the entrance of the small town was covered with moss. It had been eroded by wind, frost, rain, and snow until it was mottled. It seemed that it had not been repaired for many years. It was impossible to see what was written on the stone tablet. A few crows were perched on an old crooked tree that had lost its bark. They cawed and cawed, making people's hair stand on end. The small town was deathly silent, revealing a desolate atmosphere. With a slight breath, one could smell a faint smell of blood and a strange smell of rot and mold in the air that blew from the direction of the small town. There was no sound of people, not even the crowing of chickens and barking of dogs. In such a strange environment and atmosphere, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue couldn't help but hold hands and shiver. Their eyes were filled with surprise and panic. Lan Shirong calmed herself down and said with a frown. "Senior brother Mo, are we going to train in this small town? This place seems to be a desolate town. There is something strange about it." "Heh, it is indeed this small town." Senior brother Mo's tone was indifferent, but the corner of his mouth had a trace of deep mockery and strangeness. "Junior sister Shirong, junior sister Yanxue, training is like this. Do you think that training is for you to come out and enjoy life? For you to go in and out of a bustling place? Alright, let's enter the small town. Let's go to the inn in the town to recuperate and drink some wine to warm our bodies. Tomorrow, we will subdue the demons and eliminate the devils." After finishing speaking, senior brother Mo put his hands behind his back and walked straight into the town. He also didn't bring the flood dragon horse into the small town. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue looked at each other in shock. After a few breaths, Lan Shirong gathered her courage and said, "Yanxue, let's go in as well. Senior brother Mo is right. Training is indeed full of thorns. It is not for us to come out and have fun." Jing Yanxue nodded heavily. The two young girls held hands and followed behind senior brother Mo with their delicate bodies slightly trembling. The two flood dragon horses suddenly curled up their front hooves and whined in fear. They didn't dare to follow their masters into the small town and were left outside the town. Xiaofan was wearing a black cloak and his expression couldn't be seen clearly. He quietly walked up and walked side by side with the two young girls. "Uncle, don't you feel that this small town is strange?" Jing Yanxue asked in a low voice. Suddenly, I seem to have stepped on something. Jing Yanxue stopped and subconsciously bent down to take a look. Soon after, she let out a scream and retracted her feet. Not long after, Lan Shirong also cried out in surprise and pulled Jing Yanxue a few steps back. Xiaohan's gaze swept across. It turned out that Jing Yanxue had stepped on a bone just now. It looked like a human thigh bone. Not far from this bone, there was a deathly white skeleton. A long snake darted out from the empty eye socket of the skeleton. "Senior brother Mo, this small town." Lan Shirong shouted towards senior brother Mo who was walking quickly in front with extreme dissatisfaction. "Alright, two junior sisters, don't complain anymore." Senior brother Mo interrupted Lan Shirong, "There is an inn at the end of this street. Let's go there first." Following the direction that senior brother Mo pointed, there was indeed an orange light at the end of the long street. However, this seemed to be the only light in the entire small town. Seeing the light seeping out, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong slightly calmed down their almost out-of-control emotions. "Yanxue, let's go to the inn in front to take a look," Lan Shirong said with a vigilant expression. He said in a low voice. "Yanxue, I think there's something strange going on. If senior brother Mo has ill intentions towards us, we have to fight for what's right. We must not give in and allow him to bully us." Yes. Jing Yanxue nodded repeatedly. The air seems to be filled with demonic qi, it's too obvious. Xiaofan had seen the demon race a few times after all. Therefore, he knew the obvious demonic qi and smell in his heart. Moreover, at this moment, the strange thing that was hibernating in Xiaohan's heart was spinning twice as fast as before. Xiaofan looked around and found that the doors of the houses on both sides of the street were tightly shut. There were even spider webs on some of the wooden doors. Occasionally, a few rats would poke their heads out from the crack of the door and sneakily look around. There were also centipedes and snakes that appeared and disappeared faintly. The entire town exuded a lifeless aura, as quiet as a graveyard. Could it be that we were brought to a dead town controlled by the demon clan? Xiaofan frowned. However, since they were already here, it was too late to be afraid and retreat at this time. Cultivating the martial Tao was like crossing a wooden bridge with 10,000 people. It was extremely difficult. One had to constantly cut down the thorns and behead the demons in one's heart. Only by sharpening one's spirit could one achieve the Tao. Only when one's spirit was sharpened to the point where one's spirit was as strong as gold, could one reach the other shore. For a true martial artist, this kind of situation might be exactly what they wanted. Two ladies, don't be afraid. Xiaofan smiled. I will ensure the safety of the two ladies. Seeing Xiaofan's steady eyes, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue could not help but feel a sense of security. The two girls could not help but lean closer to Xiaofan. Jing Yanxue stuck out her tongue and said, "Uncle, are you not afraid at all?" "Hee, uncle, I have been in Jianghu for many years. I am used to this kind of situation. There is nothing to be afraid of. Here we are." Xiaofan's footsteps stopped. At this time, the three of them had already arrived at the entrance of the inn at the end of the street. The inn was brightly lit. They picked out a few broken lanterns. It was impossible to see what was written on the lanterns. At this time, a waiter came out to greet them. His face was pale and he smiled strangely. "Dear guests, please come in." Xiaofan looked up and saw that there were a few tables of diners in the hall of the inn. They were sitting in low spirits, not making a sound. The shopkeeper at the counter was fiddling with his abacus. Senior brother Mo was already sitting at a table in the inn. He was speaking in a clear voice. He said in a clear voice, "Two junior sisters, and that Jianghu man, come in." The strange thing that was hibernating in Xiaofan's heart was spinning more and more violently. "I am afraid that the people in the inn are all demons." Xiaofan felt a chill in his heart. This time, I have really fallen into a demon's nest. Immediately, a powerful thought appeared in his mind. If I, Xiaofan, can overcome this obstacle, my spirit will be sharpened to an unimaginable level. In the future, my heart will be like a boulder. Nothing will be able to erase my faith. Chapter 43. In the treacherous inn. A group of lifeless people. Of course, the strange thing in Xiaofan's heart was beating faster and faster. It told him that the people in front of him might not be human. Senior sister Shirong. Jing Yanxue shuddered. She pulled Lan Shirong's sleeve and said hesitantly, "Senior sister. Are we really going in? The atmosphere is so strange." Lan Shirong braced herself and said, "Let's go in. Senior brother Mo is inside." Lan Shirong thought. No matter how unbearable senior brother Mo was, he would never harm their lives. Otherwise, once they returned to the sect, he would be exiled and his cultivation would be crippled. Suddenly, Lan Shirong raised her head and looked at Xiaofan. She said subconsciously, "Yanxue, don't be afraid. Uncle is here. Ha. Let's go." Xiaofan took the lead and went in. After entering the inn's hall, Xiaofan's first impression was that it was dirty. The floor was covered with dust. There were cobwebs in the corners. There was a musty smell in the air. There was even an indescribable smell of corpses. There were a few rows of pear wood tables and chairs in the hall. There were about 8 or 9 diners sitting there. What was strange was that there was nothing on their table. Not to mention food and wine, there were no plates or chopsticks. These diners sat there without saying anything. Their faces were pale and their eyes were dull. When they saw Xiaofan and the others come in, they looked at them at the same time. Suddenly, their black pupils glowed with a dark green light like a wolf's. They were bloodthirsty, cruel, and hungry. Some diners even swallowed their saliva and fiercely grinded their teeth. Ha! Xiaofan laughed. He pulled out the chair opposite senior brother Mo and sat down. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue followed him and sat on his left and right. After entering the inn, the waiter and shopkeeper did not come over to greet them. The shopkeeper fiddled with his abacus like a puppet. Occasionally, he raised his head and laughed foolishly. The waiter even pulled out a chair and sat down while laughing sinisterly. The atmosphere was extremely strange. It was Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue's first time roaming the Jianghu. At this moment, they were so scared that they kept quiet out of fear. They secretly observed the surrounding environment. Waves of suffocation hit them like a tide. In fact, Xiaofan also felt lucky. This time, Xiaofan left the sect to train and experience many twists and turns. First, he personally experienced the terrifying demon general who was disguised as Lu Town's mayor. Then, he defeated Huarong despite being weaker than him. Finally, during the battle at Crouching Bull Mountain, he single-handedly dealt with hundreds of fugitives from the Jianghu and survived the perilous situation. He even eliminated an outer sect genius from Mingjian Villa. After experiencing so many life and death situations, Xiaohan's spirit and aura had been tempered to become as sharp as a blade. Therefore, he was able to maintain a relatively calm state of mind. If it weren't for these experiences, even if Xiaohan's cultivation was a bit higher, even if he was a bit stronger, his current state of mind wouldn't be much better than Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue. She had long been scared out of her wits. Senior apprentice brother Mo, take out the demon-revealing mirror. Lan Shirong finally couldn't hold back anymore and said. This place is too strange. Senior martial brother Mo, please take out the demon-revealing mirror and check the demon race's tracks. Demon-revealing mirror? Senior brother Mo smiled evilly. This brother's demon-revealing mirror has long been lost, senior apprentice brother Mo you. Jing Yanxue said angrily. Senior martial brother Mo, as the outer sect disciple of medicine King Gujie, you were ordered to bring us sisters out to train. However, if a physical body realm martial artist doesn't have the demon-revealing mirror, it's impossible for him to find the demon race disguised as a human. Senior martial brother Mo, you lost the demon-revealing mirror and brought us sisters to this dangerous place. What are your intentions? Senior martial brother Mo, you are neglecting your duty. Lan Shirong had always been elegant and tranquil. She had a temperament that stood aloof from worldly affairs. At this moment, she couldn't help but criticize senior martial brother Mo to his face. All right. Junior martial sister Shirong, junior martial sister Yanxue, even without the demon-revealing mirror, this brother can still find the demon race. Senior martial brother Mo's eyes suddenly became fiery. He stuck out his tongue and licked his lower lip. Let's rest in this inn tonight. Junior martial sisters, this brother has been drooling over your good looks for a long time. In the sect, this brother has been restraining himself because of the sect rules. This brother has been enduring. Finally. I have been waiting for such an opportunity. This time, this brother wants to be like glue with these two junior martial sisters and have a good time. Ha ha ha. Two junior martial sisters, accompany this brother to be a loving couple. Ha ha ha. The one with the surname Mo. How dare you? Jing Yanxue's pretty face changed. She suddenly stood up and trembled with anger. The one with the surname Mo, I didn't expect you to be so shameless. You're simply insane. Do you think senior martial sister Shirong and I are the kind of women that you can play with? When we return to the sect, we must report your despicable behavior to our superiors. Humph. Do you think I don't know that you peeped at junior martial sister K, and the others bathing? Tell the elders about it. I don't believe that they will still protect you. You beast. Yanxue, let's go. Lan Shirong also stood up with a frosty expression. At this moment, ha 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 ha. You want to leave? It's too late. The corner of Senior Marshal Brother Mo's mouth kept twitching. You are fish on the chopping board. Before he could finish his words, shockingly. Bang! Xiaofan, who had been sitting silently, suddenly raised his right hand. The wood rings on his palm bloomed and the leaves rustled. There was also a faint hint of green. The withered wood palm caught Senior Marshal Brother Mo off guard and ruthlessly smashed onto his left cheek. The power of 80 cauldrons exploded like a mountain torrent. The surrounding air was torn apart and the wrinkles of the withered tree bark spread everywhere. Pooh! Senior Marshal Brother Mo's entire head was sent flying and exploded into powder in midair. A headless corpse sat on the side of the table. It was swaying. Yeah. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue were so frightened that they screamed at the same time. In the next moment, oh! Martial artist! You're quite courageous. I haven't played enough yet. You actually dared to ruin my mood. Kaka. Interesting. Very interesting. Kaka. A low and muffled voice burst out from Senior Marshal Brother Mo's headless corpse. It was evil and cruel and didn't sound like a human. Pooh! A demonic aura shot out from Senior Marshal Brother Mo's body and soared into the sky. In an instant, the entire inn was filled with evil spirits. The wind howled and the demonic aura spread out in all directions like evil dragons. The wails of ghosts and howls of wolves resounded everywhere. It was heart-wrenching and unspeakable. At the same time, the innkeeper behind the counter let out a miserable howl and grabbed his cheeks with both hands. He actually tore his face apart. Poochie. The innkeeper's clothes, skin, and flesh were all blasted apart. The air wave twisted the counter and immediately shattered it into pieces. Kaka. After the innkeeper's skin exploded, he revealed his true form as a demon. He was about 1.9 meters tall and had a humanoid shape. His skin was maroon and as hard as steel. With a slight movement, a long whistle burst out. His claws were like an eagle's, his eyes were like a wolf's, his legs were like a toad's, and his arms were like a python's. His aura surged and he was ruthless and bloodthirsty. He was a loose demon. Poochie. The waiters and customers in the inn tore open their skins one after another, revealing their true forms of the demon clan. All of them were loose demons. In an instant, more than 10 loose demons appeared in the inn. Capture them. A commanding voice came from Senior Marshal Brother Mo's headless corpse. It stood there majestically and had the aura of a monarch in control of the situation. Let's go. Xiaofan reacted with lightning speed. He grabbed Lan Shirong with his left hand and Jing Yenyun with his right. His tyrannical physical body tore apart the air and directly rushed out of the inn. At this moment, Lan Shirong and Jing Yenyun had already lost their color under the onslaught of the demonic aura. Their souls had gone limp. Right now, it was already impossible to count on them to kill the demon. If they didn't faint from fear, they were already heroes among women. Xiaofan pulled the two girls and rushed out like lightning. He thought to himself that they had truly fallen into a nest of demons. All of them are from the demon race. But don't be afraid. Didn't you come out to gain experience? Today's situation is the perfect training. Once you overcome this hurdle, your hearts and minds will transform. In the future, when you cultivate the martial Tao, you will have a bright future. Especially if you want to ascend to the true Qi realm. You must have this kind of life and death experience to polish your spirit and stimulate your body's potential. Xiaofan quickly said. These words were said to encourage the two girls. If they were so scared that they didn't even have the strength to run, then it would be very difficult for Xiaofan to bring them out of this dangerous situation. Uncle, how did you know that Senior Marshal Brother Mo has been possessed by the demon race? Lan Shirong asked after catching her breath while being pulled by Xiaofan. I am an uncle. Of course I know. Xiaofan casually laughed. At this moment, Xiaofan's eyes were looking in all directions and his ears were listening in all directions. His spirit was completely taut like a bowstring. All the power in his body surged and the potential in his life was stimulated and gushed out. In the inn. Bang! Senior Marshal Brother Mo's skin exploded. A huge demon stood up like a towering mountain. He stretched his muscles and bones and let out a crackling sound. He was more than 2 meters tall and had a human form. His whole body was covered with tendons and complicated muscles like an evil dragon. Both of his hands were covered with black scales. The reverse scales were like knives. His eyes were like a sea of blood and his mouth was like an abyss. His whole body was wriggling and demonic chi splashed everywhere. A slight breath was enough to cause a landslide and a tsunami. It was a demon soldier. It was equivalent to a human martial artist at the blood transformation realm. Capture him alive, especially the one wearing the black cloak. He must be captured alive. I feel that there is something on his body that attracts me. This demon soldier said coldly. Yes. The dozens of loose demons in the inn shot around randomly like arrows piercing through the clouds. In an instant, the inn was destroyed and they rushed out in all directions to chase after Xiaofan and the others. In the next moment. Oh! That demon soldier stretched out his neck and let out a long howl. The terrifying sound was like a cannonball exploding in all directions, creating visible ripples in the air. So scary. On the lifeless long street, Jing Yanxue heard this howl and her whole body trembled. She instinctively used all the strength in her body to grab Xiaofan's hand tightly. Her warm palm was full of fragrant sweat. The strange thing in Xiaofan's heart spun faster and faster. Bang! All of a sudden, the closed door of a shop on the left was smashed into pieces. A scarlet-red shadow flashed and a loose demon directly rushed out. Its claws whistled sharply. It was like an eagle soaring through the sky, a vicious whale strangling and a ferocious tiger pouncing on a sheep. It clawed at Xiaofan's head. Chi explosions could be heard in the air. Numerous afterimages were like sickles attacking Xiaofan. Die! Wooden dragon rod. Xiaofan grabbed with his right hand. His strength rolled like thunder and transformed into a wooden rod. The wood was rough and it was covered with dried skin. It was 5 feet long and could easily pull up mountains and fill up rivers. Bang! Xiaofan raised the wooden dragon rod and hammered it. Everywhere it passed, the dead leaves rustled and withered. Suddenly, a mysterious green color appeared. It was as if the withered tree had come back to life, producing a sudden burst of vitality. That loose demon was hammered flat. The place where it stood cracked and splashed everywhere. Uncle, you are so fierce. Jing Yanxue thought that she was about to die. She did not expect the uncle beside her to be so brave. In one move, he had smashed a demon into pieces. Humph. Demons can also be beaten to death. This was the first time in Xiaofan's life that he had killed a demon alone. One hammer strike was clean and efficient. This caused Xiaofan's confidence to surge. Senior Brother Fang can kill demons like picking up grass. I, Xiaofan, can do the same. Kill. However, at this moment. Xiao, the demon emperor's palm tattoo on Xiaofan's left arm throbbed and automatically expanded. In an instant, the smashed demon on the ground transformed into rays of light. Like silk being peeled from a cocoon, it was completely absorbed by the demon emperor's palm tattoo. In the next moment, a warm current enveloped the demon emperor's palm tattoo. Xiaofan felt that the tattoo was being nourished. As expected, the demon emperor's palm needs a large amount of demon blood and life to nourish it. Only then can it continue to awaken the demon vein and even those faint demon inscriptions and talismans. Xiaofan immediately understood everything. In this dangerous situation, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue's minds were muddled. Naturally, they did not notice that the demon corpses on the ground had been sucked dry by Xiaofan. Bang! 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 A large number of houses in the small town were overturned. Many loose demons jumped out like toads and hissed loudly. Their demonic aura soared into the sky. A ruthless and barbaric aura completely enveloped the entire small town. Blood-colored clouds covered the crescent moon. Xiao xiao xiao, behind them, there were more than 10 loose demons chasing after them. Suddenly, Xiaofan and the other two's paths of retreat were completely blocked. There were more than 10 loose demons in front, more than 10 behind, and countless more on the roof tiles on the left and right sides. This was a small town that had been occupied by the demon race. Dead town. Demon town. Who knew how many vicious and evil loose demons were hiding here? In an instant, Xiaofan and the others were in a precarious situation. It could not be worse. Jing Yanxue suddenly burst into tears. Senior sister, uncle, we are going to die, but I don't want to die. I still don't want to die. Lan Shirong was also determined to die. She suddenly said. Uncle, please make your move. Kill us two sisters. We would rather die in your hands than fall into the hands of the demon race. Xiaofan thought, Lady Lan is soft on the outside but hard on the inside. In this desperate situation, she did not cry like Jing Yanxue. Instead, she wanted to end her own life to avoid being humiliated. However, Xiaofan's mind transmitted a thought like thunder. I, Xiaofan, will not die here. I, Xiaofan, came to this world with great difficulty. I started from a lowly living target and climbed up step by step. I, Xiaofan, will definitely not die here. Suddenly, the potential in Xiaofan's body was greatly stimulated. His entire body sank into a state of extreme silence. The demon race that was roaring in all directions seemed to have quietened down. At this moment, life and death, honor and disgrace, no longer seemed to matter. Uncle will bring you out. Xiaofan held the two women's hands tightly and rushed forward. More than 10 demon race members in front of him were waiting for their prey. When they saw the prey rushing forward, they rushed forward like a swarm of bees. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, waiting to be fed. Suddenly. Emperor's robe. Xiaofan's entire aura changed. The withered and decaying aura in his body became majestic and vast. He was like an emperor ascending to the throne, looking down on the common people. He was the supreme ruler of the world. The imperial power of a country was in his hands. Those who disobeyed the emperor's way must be killed. Boom! The air in all directions fluctuated. The power of heaven and earth had completely merged with Xiaofan's emperor's power. Suddenly, Xiaofan's body was covered with a layer of yellow air. This yellow air was densely covered with dragon patterns. There were images of mountains and rivers, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Surprisingly, it was an emperor's robe. On top of Xiaofan's head, a vague crown could be seen. There were even 5 imperial canopies rising up. When Xiaofan took a step forward, it was as if all living things had to prostrate before him. They knelt down and performed the etiquette of an emperor and his subjects. They shouted, "Long live the emperor!" In an instant, the scattered demons in front of them were shocked by Xiaofan's emperor's robe. Their souls became soft. Some of the weaker scattered demons really knelt down with a plop. Let's go! In a split second, Xiaofan pulled Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue and rushed forward. Wooden dragon rod. In the next moment, Xiaofan had already pulled Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong and forcefully opened up a bloody path in front of him. Uncle, you. Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong had clearly felt Xiaofan's aura just now. That kind of domineering aura of supremacy caused the two girls to be intoxicated. The way they looked at Xiaofan was simply as if he was a celestial being. "Uncle, you are too handsome." Chapter 44. In this life and death situation, Xiaofan's entire body's potential surged. His mind was extremely tense, and he didn't dare to make any mistakes. He used the Emperor Cloak technique, and the power of heaven and earth was under his control. His defense increased drastically, and his aura became as strong as a monarch's. He directly smashed a group of loose demons in front of him like a human wall and killed 3 loose demons like a whirlwind. Xiaofan actually killed a way out and brought Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue out of the town. Swish swish swish, more and more loose demons broke through the walls and rushed out. The sky above the town was filled with thick demonic qi. The heaven and earth were gloomy like hell on earth. Bang! The demon soldier smashed through the roof and stood on the ridge of the roof. Its scarlet eyes kept rolling, and a deep rumbling sound burst out from its throat. "We must capture that black-cloaked human alive. He must have some supreme treasure on him." Bang! Bang! The other 2 loose demons also broke through the roof and flew up. They stood on the left and right sides of the demon soldier. "Chief, that human killed our own kind. He actually swallowed the essence qi in the dead bodies of our demon race in an instant without leaving a single drop. It's definitely not a small matter. We must capture him and dig out his heart and lungs to check carefully," one of the loose demons said. "Chief, that human's combat strength is extraordinary. He has a kind of outstanding aura. If Chief sucks his brain, you might be promoted to a demon general." Another loose demon flattered. "Humph. Our small demon race tribe has been here for many years. We don't know how many human physical body realm martial artists we have killed. Today is no exception. Kill." That demon soldier's throat resounded with a sharp demon howl, like a wolf howling at the moon. Under this heart-wrenching howl, all the loose demons in the town seemed to have received some kind of order. They immediately rushed towards Xiaofan and the other 2 and madly chased after them. Bang! A loose demon that rushed out from the side was smashed into a pile of mud by Xiaofan's wood dragon stump. In the next moment, the light distorted. The loose demon's essence, life, flesh, and blood were all absorbed by the demon monarch's palm tattoo on his left arm. It was like a drunkard meeting fine wine, or a glutton obtaining delicious food. Now, Xiaofan had reached the peak of the viscera refinement realm by relying on his deep bone refinement realm foundation and the huge medicinal power of the 9-tailed sunflower flower. He possessed 80 cauldrons of mighty force. He took out the wooden dragon rod and hammered it. Ordinary loose demons could not pose any substantial threat to Xiaofan unless they were surrounded. However, even if he was surrounded, Xiaofan, son of heaven's divine fist, could still tear open a path of blood. Bang! Bang! Xiaofan once again hammered 2 more loose demons to death. Loose demons are no match for me. The more Xiaofan killed, the more spirited he became. He gained an unprecedented confidence. His internal organs surged and roared like tigers and dragons. Xiao! 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 Swoosh! This time, 5 loose demons surged over like a tide. They leaped like toads and easily tore through the air, emitting the sound of raging waves sweeping across the shore. Sovereign's descent. Xiaofan was not afraid at all. The Son of Heaven's great power surged out and the clouds moved in all directions. With the support of the Emperor King's shadow above his head, his aura gradually increased. With a punch, the 5 loose demons actually fell backwards. PFFF. 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 The wooden dragon rod continuously hammered and immediately crushed 3 of the loose demons. Go! Xiaofan descended from the heavens as if he had entered an unstoppable realm. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue had already lost all hope in this desperate situation. However, They did not expect that the uncle next to them would actually bring the two of them to the exit of the small town. "Uncle. There are still 100 steps left. We are still 100 steps away from the exit of the small town. Our flood dragon horse is outside the town. As long as we can kill our way out of the small town and ride on the flood dragon horse, we will have a chance to survive. Uncle, you are so powerful." Jing Yanxue looked at Xiaofan with eyes that were almost filled with admiration. Xiaofan remained silent. He said in his heart, "I'm afraid it won't be easy to kill our way out of the small town. It's not a big deal to deal with the loose demons, but I always feel like there's a thorn in my back. There must be a big fellow whose combat strength is far beyond that of a normal loose demon. It's waiting to devour us. And it should be the one that disguised as senior martial brother Mo." At this moment, Xiaohan's spirit had been tempered. He could already sense the potential danger from a distance. This was definitely not a trivial spiritual realm. On the roof of a 3-storied stone building in the distance. What? So powerful. It killed our kind again and again without leaving any bones behind. Damn it. Cultivator of the Jianghu? It seems like it's not an ordinary cultivator of the Jianghu. Could it be a genius disciple of a great sect that disguised his identity and came out to gain experience? The demon soldier screamed again and again. In the next moment, the demon's scream from its throat became even sharper and more miserable. It was continuous and continuous like a volcano eruption. Rumble. 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 The loose demons in the small town quickly organized a wave of the strongest attack and rushed towards Xiaofan and the other two from all directions. Their momentum was like 10,000 galloping horses, crushing everything in their way. Shockingly. Human, die. One of the loose demons actually rushed towards Xiaofan from behind like a gust of wind. Its sharp claws were like hooks, tearing at Jing Yanxue's back. If this attack landed, Jing Yanxue's body would definitely be torn into pieces. She would be deader than dead. Before this, when the loose demons attacked, they mainly attacked Xiaofan alone. They did not take the initiative to attack Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue. It seemed like they wanted to capture the two girls alive. However, the demon's scream that reverberated above the small town became more and more urgent. It was unknown what kind of signal was being transmitted, causing these loose demons to no longer have any scruples and start to attack Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue in a frenzy. In a split second, the loose demon's claws had already torn the clothes on Jing Yanxue's back. Jing Yanxue felt a chill on her back. All the pores on her back suddenly shrank. The dreadful shadow of death instantly shrouded her. She thought in her heart and said sorrowfully, "I can't believe that I, Jing Yanxue, will die here. I will die in the hands of a demon." At this moment, pooh! Xiaofan grabbed Jing Yanxue's lily-white hand and turned around, causing him to exchange positions with Jing Yanxue. In this instant, the sharp claws that should have killed Jing Yanxue's back hit Xiaofan's chest. A large piece of black cloth on Xiaofan's chest was torn and scattered, revealing the sparkling jade-like skin underneath. The demon claw fiercely left a ghastly wound on Xiaofan's chest, causing blood to spurt out crazily. However, under the protection of the indestructible golden body, the heat in his body surged like a tide, causing this claw to not tear Xiaofan's body apart. Motherf ************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* The wooden dragon pole in his right hand struck out and smashed the loose demon into pieces, causing him to die with a strange cry. His life's essence blood was sucked dry in less than a breath's time. Uncle. Jing Yanxue had a new lease of life. When she realized that the uncle beside her had blocked this fatal attack for her, her mind was greatly shaken. Hot tears flowed out from her eyes as she cried out loudly. Uncle, why do you treat Yanxue so well? Uncle, you are injured. Uncle, don't die. Lan Shirong was also extremely moved. Hot tears rolled down her cheeks. "Uncle, this is the healing medicine that I refined, 100 grass dew. Quickly take it. Uncle, you must not be harmed." Lan Shirong quickly held back her tears and took out a bottle of medicinal pills from her bosom. Roar! Roar! From the left and right, another 2 loose demons tore through the air and crushed down, not giving Xiaofan any time to take the medicine. However, it was fortunate that Xiaofan's indestructible golden body had already obtained the follow-up cultivation technique. His cultivation was profound and he could even withstand the attacks of Venerable Deadwood, Mountain Qi Lang and even the genius of Mingjian Villa, Shangguan Yi. Although a mere loose demon had sharp claws and teeth, its strength was only 3 or 40 cauldrons. Xiaofan forcefully endured it. Although it was painful, it was not fatal. The demon race's powerful point was that their demon qi was ruthless and pervasive. It could affect the will of the majority of human martial artists and destroy their will to fight, causing them to be unable to display much of their battle strength. However, the strange thing that kept spinning in Xiaofan's heart seemed to be able to block the invasion of the demon qi. It allowed Xiaofan to deal with ordinary demons with ease. Thus, Xiaofan was able to kill left and right in this demon town without losing his will to fight. Bang! Bang! Xiaofan's wooden dragon pole swept away thousands of soldiers and killed 2 loose demons. He pulled the 2 girls and continued to rush out of the town. Xiao xiao xiao, a group of loose demons flashed like ghosts and formed a human wall, blocking in front of Xiaofan and the others. Although Xiaofan was injured, his spirit was getting sharper and sharper. The more he fought, the more courageous he became. Without saying anything, he put on his royal robe and unleashed his aura, calming the 4 seas and silenced the surroundings. The human wall of the demon race collapsed. "All of you, die." The wooden dragon pole hammered down like a storm and killed several loose demons. Buzz buzz buzz, suddenly, the demon Thearka's palm tattoo on Xiaofan's left arm throbbed. A dried-up demon vein that had absorbed the blood essence of countless loose demons was showing signs of awakening. What? The second demon vein on the demon Thearka's palm is showing signs of awakening? Xiaofan's heart was filled with ecstasy. Human, go to hell. Another loose demon pounced towards Xiaofan like a mountain. Boom! Xiaofan punched out and crushed this loose demon. Another wave of pure demon qi was devoured by the demon Thearka's palm tattoo. PFFF 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 PFFF, the demon Thearka's palm tattoo moved as if it had a life of its own. The second demon vein was flowing with violent power. Good. Very good. The second demon vein has awakened. My demon Thearka's palm will have 200 cauldrons of violent power and the power to move mountains. Not enough. I need to continue hunting. Kill more demons. Xiaofan was excited. He suddenly let go of Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue's lily-white hands and laughed. Ladies, you are always being suppressed and chased by the demon race. Running away in panic is not a solution. I will counterattack for a while. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaofan actually took the initiative and pounced towards the few loose demons in front of him. With the wooden dragon pole in his left hand and the Son of Heaven's divine fist in his right, he killed them continuously with irresistible force. Of course, when Xiaofan took the initiative to attack, he did not stay too far away from Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue. He maintained a protective range that he could reach. Bang! Xiaofan's back was kicked by a loose demon. Xiaofan staggered and spat out a small mouthful of blood. With a backhand, he used the wooden dragon pole and killed the loose demon. 2 loose demons rushed towards Lan Shirong. Xiaofan took a step forward and released the Son of Heaven's great power. He killed the 2 loose demons first. The loose demons' corpses turned into rays of light and continuously entered the demon Thearka's palm tattoo on his left arm, nourishing it again and again. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue held hands and watched nervously as Uncle counterattacked the demons. Their eyes were filled with little stars. Especially Jing Yanxue. Just now, Xiaofan had used his life to save her. This had a huge impact on her heart. Right now, she was completely focused on Xiaofan. Sometimes, she thought, is Uncle's injury serious? Sometimes, she thought, Uncle is really fierce. Sometimes, she asked herself, in that situation just now, if it was her senior brothers and sisters from the Medicine King Valley, would they have used their bodies to block that fatal blow for her like Uncle did? The answer she got was, definitely not. Uncle's martial prowess is really matchless. Jing Yanxue said in a daze. The two girls were no longer as frightened as before. They both had the same thought in their minds. As long as Uncle is here, he will definitely lead us out. As long as Uncle doesn't fall, we have hope of survival. On the roof of the 3-story stone building in the distance. That demon soldier finally couldn't hold back anymore. Damn it! That human is too powerful. The demon Qi can't erase his fighting spirit at all. He keeps reaping the lives of our kind. His calmness makes me feel terrified. He's like those evil heroes, as if he was born to kill us demons. The demon soldier let out a low howl of unease. Evil heroes? The loose demons standing on the left and right sides let out frightened cries. No, Chief. He can't be a evil hero. The evil heroes of the human race are all at the true Qi realm. He's not a evil hero, definitely not. If he was a evil hero, we would have been dead long ago. This kind of human is not a evil hero now, but he will definitely become one in the future. Kill. We must kill him. He has a supreme treasure on him. Kill him personally. The demon soldier roared and stomped on the ground. His strong body soared into the sky and directly pounced towards Xiaofan. Bang! The 3-story stone building that the demon soldier was standing on was shattered into pieces and the stones scattered everywhere. Bang! The demon soldier stepped on the roof of another building and that building instantly collapsed. Bang! 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 Wherever the demon soldier passed, everything collapsed and smoke filled the air. Uncle! There's a big guy rushing over. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue shouted at the same time. Pooh! 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 After Xiaofan dealt with a few loose demons that were attacking him, he immediately moved in front of the two women. At this moment, buzz! Xiaofan's left arm flashed with a faint demon light. The second demon vein suddenly awakened. That terrifying, world-destroying power that could cut rivers and pluck the stars and moon surged in the demon emperor's palm tattoo. Bang! The demon soldier landed 10 steps in front of Xiaofan. In an instant, the blue stone slabs on the ground were lifted up and the air surged violently. The loose demons in all directions were blown away one by one. A gully was formed at the place where the demon soldier landed. Chi chi chi, it exploded and spread towards Xiaofan's side. Flying sand and stones. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue used their hands to block the wind and sand while retreating. At the same time, Puqi. Xiaofan's black cloak was completely torn apart. His upper body was naked and his lower body was wearing a pair of silver-white pants. His entire body was bathed in blood and full of wounds. However, his skin was bright and smooth like a leopard's. His young face was clearly defined. Although he was not handsome, he was filled with an indescribable vitality. His eyes were dark and spirited, bursting with an inextinguishable conviction. Xiaofan stood in the air and stood motionless like a tiger crouching and a dragon coiling. This living target that was beaten up in the past had completely formed a trace of imposing manner. Oh. So you're this young? The demon soldier slowly stood up and stood tall like a mountain. A huge amount of demonic qi radiated in all directions, causing the air to rumble. "I'm going to kill you." Xiaofan took a step forward with a domineering aura. His eyes did not have the instinctive fear that most human martial artists had towards the demon race. Uncle, so young." After Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong stood still, they stared at Xiaofan without blinking. Their eyes were filled with all kinds of complicated expressions. Suddenly, Jing Yanxue clenched her fists and shouted, "Uncle, kill this demon race." Unknowingly, her face had turned red. No one knew what she was thinking. In such a desperate battle, her eyes actually flashed with an indescribable gentleness. Xiaofan stretched his body and walked towards the demon soldier step by step. He left Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue with a firm and confident back. The two girls were actually infatuated with him. Their hearts could not control themselves. Chapter 45. Xiaofan had never thought that there would be a day when he would be able to face a demon soldier alone in such a heroic manner. According to the books, the demon soldier realm of the demon race was roughly equivalent to the blood transformation realm of the human race. Strictly speaking, demon soldiers and human blood transformation realm martial artists had their own advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of demon soldiers was that the demon race's physical body was stronger than that of the human race. At the same level, the demon race's strength, explosiveness, speed, and jumping ability were obviously superior. Moreover, many parts of the demon race's body could be used as the sharpest weapons. Their sharp teeth could bite through rocks and even steel, their sharp claws could cut through gold and jade, comparable to precious blades, their tails were like pythons and steel whips, and the advantage of the human race was martial techniques. Human blood transformation realm martial artists could cultivate martial techniques. But the demon race was not good at using any techniques below the demon general level. Of course, the biggest advantage of the demon race was their all-pervasive demonic aura that could corrode people's hearts and plant a devil in the human race's heart. They could find the flaw in the human race's heart and take advantage of it to destroy all their beliefs and fighting spirit. The so-called human race martial artists without courage were naturally afraid of the demon race. No matter how high their cultivation was, they would collapse in a real battle against the demon race. There were countless examples of human blood transformation realm martial artists having their brains forcefully sucked by the demon race. However, the demon race's biggest advantage, demonic aura, seemed to be useless in front of Xiaofan. The strange thing in Xiaofan's heart kept spinning and dissolved the demonic aura. Of course, it could also be that this demon in front of him, the demon soldier, did not have a high enough cultivation. The demonic aura it released could not cause any substantial harm to Xiaofan. Xiaofan stepped forward step by step, as steady as a mountain. His killing intent rose steadily and his heart was as firm as a rock as he pointed at the demon soldier. Boom! The demonic aura was like a crazy sea wave. With the demon soldier as the center, it spread out in all directions. The air was as sticky as fog and as red as blood. Even Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue, who were standing far away, were affected by this demonic aura. They hugged each other and shivered with their teeth chattering. Suddenly, bang! There was a sound of bones exploding in Xiaofan's body like a landslide. All the demonic aura was blown away. The earth seemed to tremble. Bone explosion style. The next moment, Xiaofan took advantage of the fact that his bone explosion style had pushed his aura to the peak. With a spurt of energy, he leaped up and broke through the air and demonic aura, heading straight for the demon soldier. Humans! Courting death! You are indeed very strong. One day, you will probably grow into a devil hero. However, you have yet to cultivate your true chi and have yet to take shape. Your brain matter will definitely become nourishment for me to rise to become a demon general. Roar! The demon soldier let out a shrill howl and pounced towards Xiaofan. Xiao 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 xiao, afterimages flickered continuously as the demonic claws tore through the air as if they were cloth. They attacked Xiaofan like a torrential storm. Every claw contained at least 100 cauldrons of strength. The wind generated by the claw tore out numerous ravines on the ground. Gravel and dust flew in all directions, turning the houses in the town into sieves. Although Xiaofan had cultivated the indestructible golden body, his flesh shell was indestructible, and his regenerative abilities were strong, but he was not stupid enough to take the demon soldier's claw attack head-on. Emperor's Robe. Sovereign's Descent. In a breath's time, Xiaofan consecutively executed the first two styles of the Son of Heaven's Divine Fist. Furthermore, he broke the sequence of the two styles. He first executed the Emperor's Robe and then executed the Sovereign's Descent. The Son of Heaven's great power appeared out of nowhere. The great power from all directions fused into Xiaofan's body. Even a portion of the demonic aura was forcefully converted into Xiaofan's power. The qi flow surged. Xiaofan looked as if he was wearing an emperor's robe and a crown on his head. The five emperors' glorious canopy rose and shone brightly under the heavens. Boom! The sovereign's descent caused the air to ripple like water. Damn it! The demon soldier was affected by the great power. Its strength was reduced by half, and its movements became sluggish. Xiao, however, the demon race was a bloodthirsty and brutal race. This demon soldier actually did not retreat. It clenched its claws into fists and rushed towards Xiaofan like a meteor. Bang! Xiaofan forcefully clashed with the demon soldier's fist. Both the human and the demon took a step back. Amazing! This demon soldier's pure strength is almost above 100 cauldrons. Furthermore, it is still able to explode with such vigorous strength even after being affected by my Son of Heaven's great power. It can be seen that the physical body of the demon race is indeed much stronger than that of the human race. Xiaofan was shaken to the point that his internal organs were tumbling. As for the demon soldier, it was even more unbearable. Under Xiaofan's unparalleled fist, several of its claws were broken. Again. Xiaofan gathered all his remaining strength and rushed forward. He executed the sovereign's descent again. Human, do you think this seat is afraid of you? Die! A trace of cunning flashed past the scarlet eyes of the demon soldier. Bang! When Xiaofan's fist collided with the demon soldier, he broke a few more of the demon soldier's claws. Suddenly, a sinister smile appeared on the demon soldier's face. In an instant, the wind howled and the cranes screamed. An irresistible force swept from behind the demon soldier, and the air exploded like firecrackers. Tail. The demon soldier's tail. This demon soldier was extremely sinister. In fact, its tail was its greatest killing weapon. When it smashed with all its strength, it could exert 200 cauldrons of strength. It could easily destroy a small hill and even a waterfall in an instant. At the same time, the corner of Xiaofan's mouth revealed a trace of a sneer. Demon Thearka's palm, come out. Xiaofan shouted in his heart. Swish, a ray of demonic light flashed on Xiaofan's left arm. Suddenly, the dragon-like muscles on Xiaofan's left arm twisted. All kinds of demon race words, talismans, and demonic veins appeared. A desolate and destructive aura shrouded the surroundings. In less than a tenth of a breath, Xiaofan's left arm transformed into the demon Thearka's palm. It was 2 meters long. Like an evil dragon scuttling out. At this moment, on the demon Thearka's palm, 2 demonic veins were awakened. They were the color of colored glaze, clear and pure. Each of the demonic veins contained 100 cauldrons of strength. PFFF. Xiaofan's demon Thearka's palm directly pierced through the body of the demon soldier. Immediately, the entire body of the demon soldier began to deflate, shrink, and wither. Its powerful life force flowed away like water. It turned into streams of light and merged into the demon Thearka's palm. PFFF. At this moment, the sharp tail of the demon soldier whipped Xiaofan's body. However, the the strength was not great. It was only a few dozen cauldrons. It was not enough to cause fatal damage to Xiaofan. At most, it would only cause some light injuries. This. The 2-meter-tall demon soldier's body withered bit by bit. Its essence, chi and life force were devoured by the demon Thearka's palm like a sponge absorbing water. You have, our demon races, methods, who exactly are you, ah? The demon soldier's voice was as thin as gossamer. After muttering a few words, it let out a miserable howl and was completely sucked dry by the demon Thearka's palm. Not a single drop was spilled. Who? If I don't use the demon Thearka's palm, it is almost impossible to kill this demon soldier. Xiaofan made a prompt decision. He took out the demon Thearka's palm that had awakened the second demonic vein and killed the demon soldier. Then, he plundered its essence, chi and life force as nourishment for the third demonic vein. Xiao. The demon Thearka's palm turned into a tattoo on his left arm and quickly went dormant. The third demonic vein was throbbing as if it was about to awaken. However, it was still lacking some nourishment. Xiaofan quickly turned his head and saw Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue hugging each other. Their beautiful hair was in a mess and their faces were covered with their white hands. They were resisting the demonic chi and the demonic wind. I wonder if they saw me using the demon Thearka's palm just now. They were eroded by the demonic chi and their minds were greatly affected. Their 6 senses have become dull. Xiaofan's eyes turned. They shouldn't have seen it, right? Just as Xiaofan was feeling doubtful. The leader has been killed by this human. Run! Run! The scattered demons in the small town were like frightened toads. They jumped in all directions and left the demon town like a gale. It was as if a tree had collapsed and scattered. The demonic chi that had accumulated in the small town gradually dispersed. The first ray of dawn shone on the small town. The endless darkness finally ended. Xiaofan's mind relaxed. His whole body went limp and fell heavily on the ground. In this battle, Xiaofan had to face all the scattered demons in the small town. There was even a demon soldier. Although he had defeated the group of demons, Xiaofan's body was injured in many places. His physical strength was almost exhausted. What was more serious was that he was exhausted. Uncle! How are you? At this moment, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue rushed over. Jing Yanxue was extremely nervous. She couldn't help but squat down and gently lifted Xiaofan up. Xiaofan's head rested on her beautiful thigh. Lan Shirong originally wanted to bend down to support her, but Jing Yanxue was a step ahead of him. As a result, he calmly squatted down as well and said this. Uncle, you have eliminated all the demon race. Immediately, her face turned slightly red and she said softly. No, you are not uncle. You are so young, uncle, there is a healing medicine here. Jing Yanxue was still calling him uncle. She quickly took out a small porcelain bottle from her bosom and opened the stopper. She very gently pointed the mouth of the bottle at Xiaofan's lips and fed the nectar-like medicinal liquid into Xiaofan's mouth. In an instant, a copious amount of life force flowed through Xiaofan's throat and into his internal organs. The fragrance of life was germinating. This medicine is really good. Xiaofan blurted out. Uncle, this is a healing medicine that I refined myself. Jing Yanxue hurriedly said. At this moment, she seemed to realize that Xiaofan was not an uncle. He was a youth about the same age as her. Moreover, Xiaofan's upper body was bare. She was gently supporting him and his head was resting on her thigh. All of a sudden, Jing Yanxue felt an indescribable feeling of shyness. Her charming face was burning. On her thigh, where Xiaofan's head was touching, there was a strange numbness and heat. However, she was still worried about Xiaofan's injuries. Thus, she did not move her body away. Her eyes became red again. Crystal clear tears rolled down her cheeks as she murmured. "Uncle, why are you so good to Yanxue?" It was also Xiaofan's first time having such intimate contact with such a cute girl. His heart was indescribably happy. The delicate fragrance of Jing Yanxue's body lingered in his nose. He felt as if he was falling into the clouds. However, Xiaofan was still worried that when he used the demon god palm just now, the two girls would see some clues. "I killed the demon race leader with one punch," Xiaofan said tentatively. "Uncle, you are really amazing. You are even more amazing than many of our Medicine King Valley's outer sect geniuses. Uncle, are you also a disciple of a big sect?" Jing Yanxue asked. "Phew, it seems that they did not see my biggest secret." Xiaofan let out a sigh of relief in his heart. However, he was not willing to reveal his background. Xiaofan thought that as long as he did not reveal his sect and expose his identity, even if these two girls remembered some clues, they would not be able to find him. "Let them continue to misunderstand that I am just a Jianghu swordsman. How am I a sect disciple? I am just a wanderer in the Jianghu." Xiaofan pretended to be profound and said. Immediately, his eyes turned, and a mischievous light flashed in his eyes. He said in a low voice. "Miss Jing, I fought with the demon race and was seriously injured. Although I have taken your spiritual medicine, I don't know if my body will recover. Uncle, are your injuries very serious?" Jing Yanxue said with a trembling voice. A string of hot tears could no longer be controlled. They fell from her beautiful big eyes and dripped on Xiaofan's neck. "Miss Jing, I don't know if you can fulfill a request of mine, a small request," Xiaofan said slowly. "Uncle, what request?" Jing Yanxue's eyes flashed with a determined look. Cough cough. "I'm afraid it's a little presumptuous of me to say this, but I'll say it then. Miss Jing, I don't know if I'm dead or alive. Can you, cough cough, can you give me a kiss?" Xiaofan finally shamelessly voiced out his unreasonable request. On one hand, it was to change the topic. On the other hand, it was the temperament of a young man. Moreover, since Xiaofan had decided not to reveal his identity to the two girls, he did not know if they would ever meet again in the vast sea of people. Since they were going to separate, he might as well take the opportunity to ask for a kiss, as a souvenir. When Jing Yanxue heard Xiaofan's words, she was immediately stunned. Immediately, her face blushed, and her heart began to beat wildly. Jing Yanxue looked down and saw that Xiaofan was young. His facial features were well defined, and his eyes were lively and full of confidence. She was originally a pure girl and had never had such intimate contact with any man in her life. At this moment, Xiaofan was lying on her thighs, and all she could smell was the scent of a man from Xiaofan's body. The feelings of a young girl were already somewhat confused. Thinking about how this man had risked his life to block the claws of the demon race to save her, she would never be able to repay his kindness in this life. He was seriously injured now. All he wanted was for her to kiss him. What was there to be embarrassed about? Jing Yanxue's heart was moved. Her expression was as gentle as water, and her eyes were extremely shy. She was just about to nod and agree. "Uncle. Don't tease Yanxue." Suddenly, Lan Shirong, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said. "Yanxue, why are you confused? Look at Uncle's eyes. There is a strong life force hidden in them. How does he look like a dying man?" One had to know that the disciples of Medicine King Valley were good at refining all kinds of pills. Among them, there was no lack of life-saving medicines. In order to save people, one naturally needed to know some medical knowledge and observe people's complexion. It could be said that the disciples of Medicine King Valley were not only experts in refining pills, but they were also well versed in medical knowledge. Whether a person was dying or full of vitality, they could tell at a glance. Lan Shirong was very meticulous and was the first to see the flaw. Then Jing Yanxue put her right hand and pinched Xiaofan's left wrist with her index and middle fingers. Her beautiful eyes stared at Xiaofan's eyes and immediately said with joy, "Uncle, you are so bad. You lied to Yanxue. You are fine. Your injuries are fine. You can even see through this." Xiaofan felt very embarrassed and struggled away from Jing Yanxue. He immediately got up and patted the dust on his body. "I was just joking. Two ladies, please don't laugh at me." Under the constant nourishment of the warm flow in his body, although Xiaofan's body was full of pain, he would be fine after a few days at most. His life was not in danger. "Uncle, you lied." Jing Yanxue also stood up with the corner of her mouth slightly annoyed. Cough cough. Xiaofan awkwardly coughed twice. He wanted to say a few polite words and then leave. Right at this moment, a fragrant wind blew. Jing Yanxue suddenly came over and slightly tiptoed. She lightly kissed Xiaofan's left cheek. Then, like a dragonfly skimming the water, she fled to the side like a little bird and turned her face away. She did not dare to look at Xiaofan again. Lan Shirong's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. She looked at Jing Yanxue and then gently walked over to hold Jing Yanxue's hand. Xiaofan touched the place where Jing Yanxue kissed and felt a burst of ecstasy. His heart was filled with the gentle taste of a young girl. For a moment, Xiaofan was infatuated. The three of them were silent for a while. "And, let's leave the town and ride the flood dragon horses back home." Xiaofan broke the silence and took the initiative to leave the desolate town with the two girls. Outside the town, Xiaofan was riding a flood dragon horse. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue were riding a flood dragon horse together. "Big. Ah, we should not call you uncle anymore." Lan Shirong looked at Xiaofan with an unconcealable yearning in her beautiful eyes. "Can you tell us your name?" Xiaofan thought for a moment and smiled. "It's nothing. You can just call me uncle." "Uncle. How about, you come back to Medicine King Valley with us?" Jing Yanxue, who was blushing, suddenly raised her head and looked at Xiaofan seriously. "No need. I will leave first. Miss Lan, Miss Jing, take care." Xiaofan kicked the flood dragon horse and left. Chapter 46. Although the two girls were rare and peerless beauties with a smile and a frown, Xiaofan's cultivation was more important and he couldn't be distracted by the matters between men and women. This was a world where the law of the jungle was played out vividly. The strong survived and the weak perished. If one didn't cultivate to the true Qi realm, one would forever be an ant that could be trampled to death at any time. Passing by a small town, Xiaofan spent some gold and silver to buy a light yellow silk robe. When he put it on, he looked a bit like a scholar. He continued on his way. On the morning of the second day, Xiaofan finally returned to the misty mountain range of Rain and Cloud Mountains. I, Xiaofan, am finally back. I have really benefited a lot from this training." Xiaofan turned over and got off the horse, returning to one of the outer sect's 10 peaks. Before returning to the sect, Xiaofan hid the 2 storage rings on his body and didn't wear them to avoid unnecessary trouble. When passing through the immortal screen guarding the mountain, the strange thing that was hibernating in Xiaofan's heart and the Demon Emperor's palm tattoo on his left arm only slightly throbbed a few times without being discovered, which made Xiaofan let out a long sigh of relief. At the White Jade Plaza on the peak, "Xiaofan, this time, Hua Hong brought you outer sect disciples out for training. Why did it take so long?" Hua Hong is also a senior inner sect disciple with half-step true Qi. He is very experienced in killing demons and devils. This time, he was only dealing with ordinary loose demons. It was effortless. "What is he doing? You guys didn't return after so long. The elders are already questioning you." A master frowned and complained. Xiaofan, why did you come back alone? Where is Hua Hong? Where are the other outer sect disciples? Xiaofan thought to himself, an ordinary loose demon. If you know that there is a demon general hibernating in Willow Town, I'm afraid your souls will fly out of your body. Xiaofan's eyes rolled a few times and said with a blank face. Leaders, I'm not too sure about the matter. After senior brother Hua Rong brought us to Willow Town, we indeed encountered the demon clan. Moreover, there was more than one. After a round of fighting, I was separated from senior brother Hua Rong and a few other outer sect senior brothers. After that, I secretly returned to Willow Town. The natives in the town all said that after senior martial brother Hua Rong killed the demons, he left with a few other outer sect senior martial brothers. I had no choice but to stay in the Jianghu for a few days before returning to the sect. Senior brother Huarong and the others have not returned yet? How strange. Xiaofan spouted a bunch of nonsense. Moreover, he knew that he would not be suspected. What was Huarong's cultivation? The pinnacle of the blood transformation realm, half a step into true energy. With a single saber, he roamed the pugilistic world alone and killed countless demons. Xiaofan was also a viscera refinement martial artist. Even if Xiaofan admitted that he killed Huarong, no one would believe him. It was impossible for a viscera refinement martial artist to jump levels and kill a half-step true qi user. Whether Huarong was missing or dead, no one would suspect him, Xiaofan. As expected, the three leaders nodded slightly. One of them said, "All right, Xiaofan, the higher-ups will send inner court disciples to investigate Huarong's matter. Since you've safely returned to the sect, then everything has nothing to do with you. Hey, Xiaofan, I see that you've refined your internal organs very well. Your qi is smooth and flawless, your internal organs are surging with majestic power, and your qi is abundant. You've reached the pinnacle of the viscera refinement realm?" "Yes. Pinnacle of the viscera refinement realm." This disciple was fortunate enough to not disappoint the three leaders' nurturing. This disciple has been wandering in the Jianghu for a few days and accidentally obtained a heavenly treasure called nine-tailed sunflower grass. After this disciple consumed this nine-tailed sunflower grass, I was chased by a few evil Jianghu guests. After a few twists and turns, this disciple borrowed their hands to disperse the medicinal power of the nine-tailed sunflower grass in my body and successfully advanced to the pinnacle of the viscera refinement realm. Then, I killed them instead. Xiaofan said lightly. "You actually had such a fortuitous encounter." One of the leaders said with a sharp voice, "The nine-tailed sunflower grass belongs to the highest grade of the viscera refinement realm. Xiaofan, I didn't expect you to have such a fortuitous encounter as soon as you left the mountain." "Not bad, not bad." Another leader twirled his beard and squinted his eyes. "Xiaofan, not only did you obtain the nine-tailed sunflower grass, but you also dealt with the Jianghu guests and successfully turned the tables, killing them instead. This kind of tempering is even better than obtaining the nine-tailed sunflower grass. No wonder, Xiaofan, I can see that your spirit and bearing are calm and composed. Cultivate well and you will definitely become an expert in the future. For the sake of our peak. I think Xiaofan's talent and luck might not lose to our peak's main characters, Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran. In time to come, they will also become well-known figures of our peak." One of the leaders said with an excited expression. "Good. Xiaofan, go back and rest for a few days. We will report your matter to our superiors and ask for rewards for you. Supreme-grade elixirs and secret martial skills are not a problem. Xiaofan, in these few days, you should consolidate your realm. Next, you will start refining your marrow. Your viscera refinement realm is extremely good and has laid a solid foundation for refining your marrow. We are more and more optimistic about your future. You are talented and beautiful. With a little polishing, you will become a great person." Yes, three leaders. This disciple indeed needs to digest the gains and losses of today's experience and consolidate my viscera refinement realm, Xiaofan said seriously. Then, Xiaofan, you can go back first. We will inform you in a few days to come and receive your reward. The three leaders now attached great importance to Xiaofan. Oh right, Xiaofan, these few days, that Yang Lei has been looking for you everywhere, saying that he will cause trouble for you. Do you need us to intervene in this matter and ease the relationship between you and Yang Lei? One of the leaders suddenly said. Yang Lei? Xiaofan sneered in his heart and then casually waved his hand. This disciple will handle this matter well. If I can't even deal with Yang Lei, how can I talk about dealing with the top outer disciples of the other peaks in the future? How can I fight for our peak's reputation? Ha ha ha. Good, well said. However, Xiaofan, don't be impulsive. Yang Lei is after all in the marrow refinement realm, an entire realm lower than you. Don't be too rash. I know. Xiaofan smiled casually and bid farewell to the three leaders. Not bad, he has developed some temperament. Calm in the face of danger. This state of mind is very important for a martial artist's growth. I already said, geniuses can't always be cooped up in the sect, they must be nurtured in a free-range manner. Let them go down the mountain to gain experience. Only by killing with blood and fire, or even a mountain of corpses and a sea of bones, can they grow rapidly. The three leaders stood on the spot and discussed. Xiaofan returned to the side courtyard of this peak's outer sect disciples. He first went to find Ah Cho. Senior brother Ah Cho. Xiaofan shouted from outside the door. Not long after, Cho responded and hurriedly opened the door for Xiaofan. After opening the door, Xiaofan saw Ah Cho sweating profusely, his upper body naked, and his muscles all covered in sweat. Xiaofan, you're finally back. I thought something happened to you. Good, it's good that you're back. Come in, come in. Xiaofan smiled and walked into Ah Cho's side courtyard. On the small martial arts field, there were piles of stone blocks and sandbags hanging on wooden stakes that were still shaking. The ground was filled with deep and shallow footprints. Xiaofan smiled. Senior brother Ah Cho, so you're cultivating. Then I'll have to disturb you. At the same time, Xiaofan was slightly curious. Ah Cho was usually rather lazy when cultivating, to the extent that he had the feeling of being a monk and striking the bell for a day. He didn't know what happened today, but he was actually sweating profusely while cultivating. It was obvious that he was working hard. There's no need to disturb me. Xiaofan, you know me. My martial arts talent isn't good, and I don't really cultivate normally. I'm just trying to get some experience. When I leave the sect and return to my family, I'll have some foundation. Ah Cho said bluntly. But I want to participate in the outer sect disciple ranking competition half a year later. If nothing goes wrong, this year will be my last chance. Next year, I might leave the sect and return to my family, marry and have children, and live a normal life. Oh? Xiaofan was stunned. Outer sect disciple ranking competition? Yes, it's an annual outer sect disciple ranking competition. At that time, all the geniuses from the 10 peaks of Cloud Rain sect's outer sect will gather and everyone will display their skills to test each other's martial arts skills and fight for a ranking, Cho said leisurely. Then, his expression dimmed slightly. However, the minimum requirement to participate in the outer sect disciple ranking competition is to reach the marrow refinement realm. I've been stuck at the organs refinement realm for a long time and failed multiple times. Maybe it's because my comprehension towards martial arts is too poor, and my foundation is not good. But this time, I have to work hard and improve. I have to strive to reach the marrow refinement realm within half a year. I don't want to be ranked in the outer sect disciple ranking competition, I just want to use this opportunity to win some face for myself so that when I return to my family, I won't be idle. Xiaofan knew that even though Ah Cho was not well liked in the outer sect of Cloud Rain sect and his foundation was not good, he came from a family of average size in the secular world. It was not an ordinary family. Such a large family had intense infighting. If Ah Cho did not make a name for himself in Cloud Rain sect for a few years, he would not have a good time when he returned. Right, senior brother Ah Cho, I'm very interested in this outer sect disciple ranking competition. Xiaofan's heart stirred. By then, Xue Jianfeng will be participating, right? Xiaofan looked at Ah Cho. Ah Cho nodded. Xue Jianfeng will definitely be participating. He was the champion of the previous outer sect disciple ranking competition. He was outstanding and shone brightly. This year, he had already announced that he would continue to be the champion and remain at the top. However, in the history of Cloud Rain sect, there has never been a situation where someone defended their title in the outer sect disciple ranking competition. However, Xue Jianfeng might break history and become the first. I heard that after Xue Jianfeng successfully defended his title, he might enter the inner sect with this halo and become an inner sect disciple, focusing on breaking through to the true Qi realm. He will strive for instant success. Successfully defend his title? Xiaofan rubbed his nose and could not help but sneer. He then changed the topic. Senior brother Ah Cho, how was our peaks Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran's performance in the previous outer sect disciple ranking competition? What was their ranking? Xiaofan, I've told you before. Our peak is the weakest among the 10 peaks in the outer sect. Senior brother Ling Feiyu and senior brother Meng Ran are the main characters of our peak. In the previous ranking competition, senior brother Ling Feiyu was ranked 18th while senior brother Meng Ran was ranked 19th. Let me tell you, Xue Jianfeng's peak is extremely powerful. Other than Xue Jianfeng taking the crown and obtaining first place, that peak occupies a total of 5 of the top 10 places. The strongest peak in the outer sect is well deserved. Ah Cho clicked his tongue and said. That was last year. This year's ranking might not be the same. Xiaofan chuckled and patted Ah Cho's shoulder. Senior brother Ah Cho, I had a fortuitous encounter when I left the mountain for training. I obtained a cultivation technique from a martial artist. It's called Deadwood Treasure Record. This cultivation technique only has 2 moves but its power is not to be underestimated. Senior brother Ah Cho, you're my only friend in Cloud Rain sect. I naturally won't forget about you when I have benefits. Now, I'll pass this cultivation technique to you. Xiaofan paused for a moment before continuing. Senior brother Ah Cho, with this cultivation technique, you'll definitely be able to advance to the marrow refinement realm within half a year. Furthermore, you'll do well when you return to the family. No one will dare to underestimate you and you'll definitely be put in an important position. With that, Xiaofan passed the old tree bark that recorded the Deadwood treasure record to Ah Cho as well as the Deadwood pillar that was split in the middle. He then told Ah Cho some of the tricks and experiences of cultivating the Deadwood treasure record. Xiaofan had already mastered this Deadwood treasure record and he had also comprehended the concept of spring returning to withered wood. Furthermore, this cultivation technique was not Xiaofan's trump card. Therefore, it was not impossible for him to pass it to Ah Cho. Of course, it was impossible for Xiaofan to pass the indestructible golden body and Son of Heaven's divine fist to anyone. Ah Cho took the withered wood treasure record and the withered wood stump from Xiaofan's hands, and immediately cried out in gratitude, completely treating Xiaofan as his own brother. Finally, Cho wiped his tears and said, Xiaofan, do you think I'll be able to master this cultivation technique? After all, my aptitude is too poor. I really have no confidence. Senior brother Ah Cho, as long as you properly comprehend the concept contained in the Deadwood pillar, I guarantee that you'll be successful in cultivating this cultivation technique. It's very simple to follow the diagram. For example, if you were to cultivate Ling Feiyu's Ocean Whale Divine Fist, you probably wouldn't have that level of comprehension. The momentum of the ocean is illusory and not easy to grasp and comprehend. However, it's impossible for you to not be able to learn the Deadwood treasure record. Alright. In this half a year, I won't cultivate other martial techniques and will focus on this Deadwood treasure record. Ah Cho placed the old tree bark and the Deadwood pillar back into the room and hid them carefully. Senior brother Ah Cho, accompany me out for a walk, Xiaofan said with a smile. Alright. But Xiaofan, recently, Yang Lei has been looking for you everywhere. I think we should just walk around nearby and not let him see us, Ah Cho said carefully. Ha 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 ha, let's go, senior brother Ah Cho, Yang Lei. If he doesn't look for me, I still want to look for him. Xiaofan laughed loudly. Chapter 47. Ah Cho took a deep look at Xiaofan. He felt that Xiaofan's spirit was full and strong after returning from this experiential learning. There was a sharp light in his eyes. Compared to before the experiential learning, it was simply incomparable. After observing Xiaofan's aura, it was obvious that he had reached an extremely high level of viscera refinement realm. The organs in his body were wriggling and there was a roar of dragons and tigers. Xiaofan. I realize that you are very different from before. Ah Cho murmured. Right. Confidence. I feel a very strong sense of confidence from you. He. Senior brother Ah Cho, how can we martial artists not have confidence? Without confidence, we are like a salted fish and can't make a comeback in this life. We will be stepped on by others for the rest of our lives. Xiaofan smiled casually. Ah Cho was speechless for a moment and silently digested Xiaofan's words. Right, senior brother Ah Cho, if you have the assistance of Medicine King Valley's snow bath pill, to cultivate the martial skills on the Withered Wood collection record, it will be twice the result with half the effort. I heard that after consuming the snow bath pill, one will not have any distracting thoughts for a certain period of time and can effectively help martial artists comprehend martial skills. Xiaofan smiled. Oh. Xiaofan, you brat, you know so much after a trip to the pugilistic world. You even know about Medicine King Valley's snow bath pill? Ah Cho grinned. However, the relationship between Medicine King Valley and our Cloud Rain sect doesn't seem to be very good. Medicine King Valley also sells elixirs to our Cloud Rain sect, but they are only some low-grade elixirs. Snow bath pill is not among them. Xiaofan secretly laughed in his heart. Snow bath pill is not sold in Cloud Rain sect. But I have eaten a few before. Right. Ah Cho slapped his forehead and said. Xiaofan, don't you always ask me about Shuejianfeng? When you mentioned Medicine King Valley, I immediately thought of something related to Shuejianfeng. And it's a big matter. What big matter? Xiaofan was shocked. As the number one outer sect disciple of our Cloud Rain sect, Shuejianfeng proposed marriage to Medicine King Valley. He probably wanted to settle the marriage with an outer sect female disciple of Medicine King Valley. Shuejianfeng's outer sect Mountain Peak was responsible for this matter, and they used their personal relationship to negotiate with the outer sect leaders of the Valley of the Medicine Masters. In short, this is the meaning of the matchmaker's words. Xiaofan, I'm sure you also know that almost all of the martial artists in our Beacon Fire Empire, including the great experts of the True Qi realm, all desire to have a companion from the Medicine King Valley. Think about it, when the time comes, that man at home will help you refine pills, all kinds of secret medicines will be endless, wouldn't it be awesome to cultivate? Once Shuejianfeng's marriage was settled, his growth speed would be unstoppable. A genius and an alchemist, this kind of husband and wife combination has endless potential. Is that so? Xiaofan was slightly displeased. Looks like this marriage will work out. After all, Shuejianfeng is not a nobody. The number one genius of our Cloud Rain sect's outer sect, he should be a match for an outer sect female disciple of the Medicine King Valley, right? That's hard to say. Ah Cho shook his head. Xiaofan, you don't know about this, right? The disciples of the Medicine King Valley, especially the female disciples, are in high demand. Regardless of whether it is the outer sect or the inner sect, most of them will marry the great experts of the true Qi realm. If not, they will marry into the royal family. The current empress of the Beacon Fire Empire, the motherly model of the world, is from the Medicine King Valley. There are also those who marry into the major sects of other empires. In the grand scheme of things, our Cloud Rain sect is really nothing. Ah Cho lowered his voice. There are 7 great empires in the southern region, 27 middle-sized countries, and countless small countries. Xiaofan, think about it, the Beacon Fire Empire is just a drop in the ocean. However, it is said that due to personal relations, a few outer sect leaders of the Medicine King Valley will personally come to the Cloud Rain sect to negotiate with Xue Jianfeng. This matter has already spread, we can go and watch the show then. I will go and take a look then. Xiaofan suddenly had a strange thought. Is it possible for me to ruin this marriage? Let Xue Jianfeng's dreams go up in smoke. However, this thought only flashed past his mind. Xiaofan knew that in order to thoroughly take revenge on Xue Jianfeng, he must defeat him. Moreover, he must defeat him in front of everyone. Trample on his dignity and pride. The outer sect disciple ranking competition is the best time to achieve all of this. Xiaofan, do you owe Xue Jianfeng a favor or a grudge? I feel that you are very concerned about his matters. Ah Cho could not help but ask curiously. Ha! Senior brother Ah Cho, let's not talk about this for now. You will know everything in the future. Xiaofan laughed. At this moment, Xiaofan and Ah Cho arrived at the market halfway up the mountain. On both sides of the stone road, there were many shops. Xiaofan went out for training this time and plundered thousands of true martial coins. Among the outer sect disciples of this peak, he could be considered as a small tycoon. With money in hand, there was no need to panic. Xiaofan wanted to go to the elixir store to take a look and purchase some medicine for cultivation, or go to the street stalls to look for martial skill manuals. Who knows, he might be able to find 1 or 2 martial skills suitable for him. At this moment, the outer sect disciples who passed by the stone road all stopped when they saw Xiaofan and started to discuss in whispers, Xiaofan. It's Xiaofan. That's right. I heard that this kid went to train in the Jianghu and disappeared for half a month. Now, he is finally back. Train my ass. I think he is hiding from Yang Lei. He took the initiative to set up a 10-day appointment with Yang Lei and said that he wanted to take one move from Yang Lei. In the end, he ran away. This kind of person climbed up from being a living target and is still cowardly in his bones. He has no backbone. Don't say it in such a bad way. How is Xiaofan without backbone? If he didn't have backbone, he wouldn't have challenged Wu Yan and Ling Hu Song. Look, after Xiaofan came back from training, his entire aura is even more condensed. Maybe he ran into some miraculous encounter. That's right, don't look down on this Xiaofan. I heard that the few leaders think highly of him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let him go out to train. Training is a lucrative job. Xiaofan, TSK, look, the moment you came back, there are people talking about you. Ah Cho said in a low voice beside Xiaofan. Heh, it doesn't matter. Come, senior brother Ah Cho, let's go to the elixir store to take a look. Xiaofan smiled and said. At this moment, Xiaofan. Stop. From the end of the long street, there was a loud roar. The roar was full of energy and sounded like a great bell. Immediately after, a large group of outer sect disciples walked towards Xiaofan aggressively. The one in the lead was wearing a purple long robe. He had a full forehead, was high-spirited and had a sharp aura. Who else could it be but Yang Lei? Xiaofan. Yang Lei is here. Ah Cho said in a low voice. Don't worry, I can handle it. Xiaofan smiled and walked over. Ah Cho followed closely behind. Xiaofan, I thought you would hide outside and not come back. Yang Lei said proudly. I can't hide anymore, right? At this moment, Xiaofan realized that Yang Lei's aura was much more condensed than before. There seemed to be a medicinal fragrance in his breath. It seemed that this guy didn't stay idle for the past half a month. Didn't you agree to fight with me in 10 days? It has been almost 20 days. Don't tell me you have forgotten about this? Yang Lei looked at Xiaofan with a sarcastic gaze. Continue to hide. If you have the ability, hide for the rest of your life. Be a tortoise for the rest of your life. He he. Xiaofan said calmly and calmly. Yang Lei, don't say such ugly words. Hide? This young master is just going out to train. I encountered some things on the way and was delayed. What are you blabbering about? Delayed? Ha ha ha. The group of outer sect disciples around Yang Lei laughed in disdain. If you are afraid, then you are afraid. Don't find excuses. Alright, Xiaofan, let's not talk nonsense. You were the one who made the promise in 10 days. I also asked senior brother Ling Feiyu to help me gather 10,000 true martial coins. What, are you going to take this move of mine or not? If you don't dare to take it, that's fine too. Kneel down in front of all the outer sect disciples, bark like a dog and f*ck yourself. How about it? Hearing this, the surrounding outer sect disciples burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Xiaofan suddenly laughed wildly. Yang Lei, I think your brain is stuck in the door. Fine, I will play with you. But this time, it is not me who takes your move. You take my move. Do you dare? If you can't take my move, the 10,000 true martial coins will belong to this young master. If you take my move, this young master will listen to you. Do you dare? The surrounding area suddenly became quiet. Xiaofan, what are you talking about? You want me to take your move? Yang Lei stared at Xiaofan with bulging eyes. I am in the marrow refining realm and you are in the viscera refining realm. There is an entire realm difference between us. You want me to take your move? Are you an idiot? One move. Xiaofan raised his right index finger and the corner of his mouth pulled into an arrogant smile. No matter what realm you are in, one move is enough to deal with someone like you. Chapter 48. But it was ridiculous. A viscera refinement realm martial artist wanted a marrow refinement realm martial artist to take on one move. This was a complete joke. Although Xiaofan had repeatedly challenged those at the viscera refinement realm, defeating Ling Husong and Wu Yan, the process had been extremely bitter. He had practically fought with his life on the line. Killing 10,000 enemies came with 8,000 casualties. Now that Xiaofan was at the viscera refinement realm, he might be able to contend with Yang Lei. But it was definitely not a matter of one move. If he could not defeat Yang Lei in one move, he would be at his mercy. He was asking for it. He was courting death. According to the previous bet, Xiaofan would have to use all his strength to take on one move from Yang Lei. As long as he did not die in one move, he would be considered the winner. Moreover, everyone knew that Xiaofan, who used to be a live target, was very durable. Theoretically, he could fight for a chance of survival under Yang Lei's full strength. In fact, the pressure of this bet was on Yang Lei's side. If he could not kill Xiaofan in one move, his reputation would be ruined. But now, Xiaofan actually played to his strengths and asked Yang Lei to take on one move from him. This could only be understood as his brain being damaged from practicing martial arts. Some of the outer sect disciples at the scene had an idea. That's right. Last time when Xiaofan went to the martial skill pavilion to choose a martial skill, he was tricked by Deacon Leng into giving him a piece of parchment paper. Now, it seems that Xiaofan studied that piece of parchment paper and went into qi deviation. His brain is completely damaged. This person is ruined. Ha ha ha. Yang Lei was so angry that he laughed. His expression was uncertain as he looked at Xiaofan and said, "Xiaofan, do you know that you are courting death? In this half a month, Senior Ling Feiyu gave me a leopard embryo marrow refining pill. I painstakingly refined the medicinal power of this pill, sharpening my strength and building up my strength. Now, my strength has reached 65 cauldrons. I can break metal and stone like breaking tiles and wood. What do you have to fight me? However, since you are courting death, I will fulfill your wish." Yang Lei had purposely told Xiaofan about how he had been in seclusion for half a month, refining pills, and how his strength had increased explosively. His goal was to destroy Xiaofan's fighting spirit and confidence. The group of outer disciples gasped when they heard Yang Lei's words. Generally speaking, a normal marrow refinement cultivator from a large sect would have a basic strength of 40-50 cauldrons. This was considered normal. Once one broke through to 60 cauldrons, they would be considered to have an exceptional aptitude. Yang Lei actually had a strength of 65 cauldrons. This was definitely not a small matter. All he had to do was condense his aura and polish his state of mind, and he would be able to enter the blood transformation realm. Ah Cho trembled as he listened. "Let's go up the stage. The matter between us needs to be settled." Xiaofan flicked his fingernails. His facial expression did not change in the slightest. He actually gave off an unfathomable feeling. A group of people swarmed towards the arena area of this peak. Moreover, this news quickly spread from 1 to 10, and from 10 to 100. It was known to all the outer court disciples on this peak, and all of them surged towards the arena like tidewater. In the arena area. "Senior Ah Cho, wait for me below. It's just one move. It's just a matter of a breath's time." Xiaofan patted Ah Cho's shoulder, and then walked up the stage calmly. Ah Cho completely fell into a state of confusion. He looked at Xiaofan with his mouth agape. For a moment, he choked and couldn't speak. "Yang Lei, come up." Xiaofan stood on the stage, hooked his finger at Yang Lei, and said, "Oh right, did you bring the 10,000 true martial coins for the wager? If not, we don't have to fight anymore." Trash. The corner of Yang Lei's mouth twitched, and his killing intent rose. He took out a handful of golden true martial coins. Xiaofan saw it clearly. This kind of golden true martial coins, each had a face value of 2,000. Good, very good. Xiaofan swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and licked his lips. In the next moment, Yang Lei walked up the stage with a majestic gait. The two of them faced each other, separated by dozens of steps. He did not speak. Suddenly, Yang Lei's body moved without any wind. His purple robe fluttered in the wind, and in the midst of the rolling energy, one could vaguely see pieces of ancient scales appearing. These scales were pale gold, and had a kind of luxurious and threatening aura. Yang Lei's consummate skill, 8 forms of crippling dragon. Within the energy, dragon scales can be faintly seen. With just a little bit of use, it has the power to swallow a whale. Look, 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. Yang Lei's energy has evolved 6 pieces of dragon scales. It is said that once this martial skill evolves into 8 pieces of dragon scales in the energy, it is at the peak, one blow collapsing a mountain. Amazing. I didn't think that Yang Lei's attainment in martial skills had improved so much. Xiaofan is dead for sure. This live target is too arrogant. With just a little bit of cultivation, he is insufferably arrogant. This is the face of a villain intoxicated by success. Yes, a villain intoxicated by success without any foundation. Below the stage, there were sounds of discussion. Xiaofan, you probably think that I, Ling Husong, and Wu Yan are the same, right? Step by step, Yang Lei slowly walked towards Xiaofan. He didn't seem to use much strength, but the ground under his feet cracked inch by inch. His aura was rising steadily. Now, let me tell you, you can rely on pestering to defeat Ling Husong and Wu Yan, but you will never be able to defeat me. You can only look up to me. Oh. But later, you will not even have the right to look up to me. Die. Being killed by me is your fate. Heh. Xiaofan also moved. Step by step, he walked towards Yang Lei. However, when Xiaofan walked, he did not have the aura that Yang Lei had. It was as if he was taking a stroll, walking slowly. 30 steps, 20 steps, 10 steps, all of a sudden. All of a sudden, a bleak air appeared above Xiaofan's head. The killing intent of late autumn shrouded the area in an instant. Withered leaves fluttered in the wind, and wrinkles of old skin spread out. However, under the layers of old skin, green sprouts actually sprouted out, surging with the vitality of a withered tree in the spring. All the aura that Yang Lei had created was instantly diluted. In reality, the 8 forms of crippling dragon that Yang Lei was cultivating was a martial art created by a martial artist who found 8 pieces of scales by the sea 1,000 years ago. Some people said that these 8 pieces of scales were dragon scales, some said that they were snake scales, and some even said that they were scales shed by beasts. But no matter what, this martial art only allowed one to comprehend the aura from the scales. It was not very profound. Moreover, when Yang Lei was cultivating this martial art, he did not have the chance to personally hold the scales and comprehend the concept contained within. He only visualized and cultivated through the scroll, so he did not understand the essence of this martial arts aura. Xiaofan's withered wood treasured record was different. The creator of this martial art had personally left behind a piece of ancient withered wood for Xiaofan to visualize. Therefore, not to mention who was stronger between Xiaofan and Yang Lei, just from the perspective of aura, Yang Lei lost by a few notches. Under such circumstances, Yang Lei's aura was greatly diminished. Xiaofan's aura was getting stronger and stronger. How is this possible? Yang Lei was shocked. He felt like his life was in someone else's hands. Pretentious. Break for me. 8 forms of crippling dragon. Crippling dragon leg. In the blink of an eye, Yang Lei leapt into the air and his right leg swept towards Xiaofan. The wind howled, tearing one's heart and splitting one's lungs. Amidst the wind from the kick, scales flashed and emitted traces of an ancient aura, causing the ground to explode chaotically. Xiaofan did not move an inch. Suddenly, Xiaofan grabbed with his right hand, and his energy condensed into a withered wood pillar. It was 5 feet long, covered in old bark, and sprouts sprouted. One move. Xiaofan roared, and the withered wood pillar smashed down. Pooh! In the next moment, Yang Lei's aura dissipated, and his attack collapsed. His entire body sank a few inches into the ground, twitching and spitting out blood. It was over. Yang Lei's ferocious attack did not do anything, and he was smashed to the ground by Xiaofan. Whether he was dead or alive was unknown. It was really one move. Yang Lei did not even manage to block one move from Xiaofan. There was dead silence below the stage. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. In the bloody battle in Demon Town, I killed God knows how many loose demons. Therefore, my martial skills have become more solid. Be it the Withered Wood Collection or the Son of Heaven's Fist, I have a deeper understanding of them. This Yang Lei's strength is 65 cauldrons, and my strength is 80 cauldrons. I can easily suppress him. Moreover, his understanding of martial skills is not as deep as mine, so he was defeated in one move. Now, after every battle, Xiaofan would subconsciously evaluate the battle and weigh the gains and losses. Now, in the physical body realm, those who can threaten me are those whose strength surpasses mine, and those who have a deep understanding of martial skills. Of course, this is under the condition that I don't use the demon god's palm. These thoughts flashed through his mind in a flash. At this moment, Xiaofan walked over, bent down, and patted Yang Lei's head with a faint smile. Don't worry, I held back just now. You won't die. At most, your tendons and bones will be broken, and your cultivation will be destroyed. As he spoke, Xiaofan took out the few true martial coins from Yang Lei's chest. There were a total of 5 coins, each with a face value of 2,000. No more, no less, just 10,000 true martial coins. Xiaofan. An outer sect disciple jumped out from below the stage and stuttered. Xiaofan, don't be rash. You won against Yang Lei, so you're capable. However, these true martial coins are the savings of senior brother Ling Feiyu over the years. This time, senior brother Ling Feiyu is going to the sea to comprehend power. When he returns, he will use these true martial coins to purchase medicinal ingredients and break through to the true Qi realm. Leave the true martial coins. Don't embezzle them. Otherwise, if senior brother Ling Feiyu is furious, you won't be able to bear the consequences. These 10,000 true martial coins were a huge sum. More than half of it was accumulated by Ling Feiyu himself, and the other half was borrowed by Ling Feiyu. He didn't think that Yang Lei would lose to Xiaofan, so he gave this huge sum to Yang Lei for the bet. In fact, it was equivalent to temporarily leaving it with Yang Lei. He didn't expect that after all his calculations, he still made a mistake. Yang Lei actually lost all of Ling Feiyu's wealth. Xiaofan, leave the true martial coins. A group of outer sect disciples screamed. He, the bet of 10,000 true martial coins was agreed upon beforehand. I don't care who these true martial coins belong to. A win is a win, a loss is a loss. There is no reason to spit out what I have swallowed. If anyone is not convinced, then come forward. Xiaofan's gaze swept across the group of outer sect disciples that jumped out. Under Xiaofan's overbearing gaze, all these outer sect disciples shrunk their necks. Xiaofan looked around, and when no one dared to make a sound, he jumped off the stage, walked to Ah Chou's side, and said with a smile, "Senior brother Ah Chou, you've really earned a lot this time." Ha ha ha. At this moment, many outer sect disciples that were watching the battle below the stage woke up from the shock. Immediately after, it was a sea of discussion, too powerful. Xiaofan really defeated Yang Lei in one move, and it was like a hot knife through butter. I am convinced now, and it is impossible for me to not be convinced. It seems like our peak's third genius has risen. Strong rise. Xiaofan is already our peak's third genius, and there is no longer any suspense. More than that. Think about it, how long has Xiaofan been in the outer sect? At the very most, it would only take a few months. From a live target to defeating Yang Lei in one move, his improvement is monstrous. I think senior brother Ling Feiyu and senior brother Meng Ran's positions are in danger. No matter what, there is a good show to watch now. Senior brother Ling Feiyu and senior brother Meng Ran will not sit idly by and let a person that threatens their position rise. When senior brother Ling and senior brother Meng return, it will be another fierce battle. Just at this moment, clap clap clap, applause sounded. From far to near. A light voice passed over, not bad, your peak has always been filled with mediocre people, and today, a passable character has appeared. Not bad, a general picked from the dwarves. Everyone looked towards the voice. They saw a group of people walking over from not far away. All of them were arrogant and despotic, and their gazes swept across the north, south, east, and west. That imposing manner was like a group of imperial envoys that had arrived at some small town and were patrolling. The leader was a young man of 18 or 19 years old. He wore a light golden robe, and his eyelids were also light golden. He was of average height, and his appearance was average. However, there was a vicious aura around him, and his eyes were like the wind and lightning, and he was very dignified. As he walked, dragons and snakes flew, and vitality filled the air. His aura was tyrannical, surpassing the marrow-refining realm, and was blood-changing realm. This person's aura was even stronger than Ling Feiyu and Meng Rance. Senior brother Ah Cho, this group of people doesn't seem to be from our peak, right? Xiaofan frowned and asked softly. This group of people. Xiaofan, this is the outer sect disciple of the peak that is ranked third among the outer sect's 10 peaks. The person at the front is one of the 5 geniuses of that peak, Zhengshan, a blood transformation realm expert. The martial skill that he cultivates is the eagle snake sky splitting strike. His hands are like eagle claws, and his leg technique is like a python. It is not to be underestimated. In the previous outer sect disciple ranking competition, Zhengshan was ranked 17th, just enough to suppress senior brother Ling Feiyu and senior brother Meng Ran. This guy is very competitive and has already come to our peak several times to openly provoke and humiliate. Ah Cho quickly explained. When the outer sect disciples of this peak saw Zhengshan and the others, they immediately revealed extremely complicated expressions. Some had sullen faces, some had frightened eyes, some lowered their heads, and some clenched their fists. Oh? Where are Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran? Did they hide outside to train again? Ha ha ha. I recently obtained a secret skill and comprehended some principles of the martial Tao, so I prepared to find Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran to spar. In the end. Ha ha ha, they are quite smart. They know that their cultivation isn't good enough, so they went out to train every 3 to 5 days. Ha ha ha. Zhengshan laughed with a face full of ridicule. The group of outer sect disciples behind Zhengshan echoed and laughed. The martial Tao was extremely cruel. If one skill was inferior to others, they would be stepped on, trampled, and ridiculed and slapped in the face by others like Zhengshan. All the outer sect disciples of this peak were gnashing their teeth, but Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran weren't here. Without a leader, they didn't dare to stand out. Zhengshan, don't go too far. Do you know that senior brother Ling and senior brother Meng aren't here, so you intentionally came to show off? An outer sect disciple of this peak couldn't bear it anymore and finally roared out. Shut up. An outer sect disciple behind Zhengshan jumped out and used his finger to point at the furious and roaring outer sect disciple. Say another word, and I'll teach you a lesson. Oh, I'll remember your appearance. In the future, when I have the chance to leave the sect to train, I'll properly deal with you when I'm outside. Of course, if you dare to go up the stage now, I'll immediately break your arms and legs. That roaring outer sect disciple was threatened and immediately didn't dare to make a sound. He deeply lowered his head. The thousands of outer sect disciples of this peak all lowered their heads in absolute silence. They didn't dare to say anything. And, what's your name? I can see that your comprehension of martial skills is quite decent, but your cultivation level is too low. Zhengshan suddenly looked at Xiaofan and began to criticize him. Tell me your name, I'll remember it. Let's see if you can stand out in the outer sect ranking competition in 3 to 5 years. Zhengshan looked at Xiaofan with a condescending gaze and said slowly. Your aptitude is barely considered not bad in this peak. Let's go, senior brother Ah Cho. Now that we have the true martial coins, let's go and have some fun. Xiaofan ignored Zhengshan and pulled Ah Cho to leave. Xiaofan. Zhengshan is talking to you. Ah Cho swallowed a mouthful of dry saliva. I don't even know him, why should I care about him? It's a waste of saliva. Xiaofan said with a faint smile. Just like that, Xiaofan pulled Ah Cho and walked straight out of the arena area, about to brush past Zhengshan and the others. Zhengshan's expression changed. Stop. Kid. Our senior brother Xiaofan is talking to you, are you deaf? Stop. Kneel down and apologize. Let's see if you can get senior brother Zheng's forgiveness. The outer sect disciples behind Xiaofan all roared. They had nothing to worry about. Their peak was ranked third among the 10 peaks of Cloud Rain sect's outer sect, while Xiaofan's peak was only ranked 7th or 8th. The difference was huge. Xiaofan immediately stopped. He slowly turned around. You guys are really a little bored. Not only did you come to our peak to bark, you even dare to ask me to kneel? Are you guys out of your minds? And, who's that? Xiaofan, right? You said you cultivated a secret skill, so you wanted to spar with Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran to test the power of this secret skill. I think you're retarded. What is a secret skill? A secret trump card, and you want to spar with others? Tell me, are you retarded? The entire place was silent. Chapter 49. He would not rest until his words shocked everyone to death. The effect of Xiaofan's words was to cause the thousands of people present to be dumbfounded. Who was Xiaofan? He was a powerful person who was ranked 17th in the previous outer sect disciple ranking competition of Cloud Rain sect. In terms of fame, he even surpassed Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran. Among the 20,000-odd outer sect disciples of Cloud Rain sect, he was definitely 1 in 1,000. Stunning and brilliant. It was usually impossible for someone like Xiaofan to be scolded. At the very least, in the entire outer sect of Cloud Rain sect, there were very few people who dared to call him a retard. Even though Xiaofan often relied on her ranking to be higher than Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran and came to this peak to put on airs, Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran only turned a blind eye to it. If she was really forced, she would say a few harsh words and both parties would be in a deadlock for a short while before it ended. However, it was impossible for them to scold him so openly. However, Xiaofan scolded. Thousands of pairs of eyes swept towards Xiaofan. Xiaofan's expression was calm as though nothing had happened. Xiaofan is so arrogant that he has no bottom line. At that moment, the thousands of outer sect disciples of this peak experienced a drastic change in mentality. Previously, when Xiaofan challenged Yang Lei with a frivolous attitude, most of the outer sect disciples of this peak thought that Xiaofan was a typical example of a petty, arrogant, and overconfident person. He was simply repulsive. But now, as an outer disciple of this peak, Xiaofan was cursing and humiliating the invaders from the other peaks. He still had the face of a vile person intoxicated by success and was still as arrogant as before, but he scolded to his heart's content. All the outer sect disciples of this peak were insulted. The peak that Xiaofan resided in was weak. Not only did the outer sect disciples of this peak receive far less basic benefits than the outer sect disciples of other peaks, they were also often bullied. There were many instances where Xiaofan took advantage of them and came to their doorstep to humiliate them. In fact, there were a few times when the outer sect disciples of this peak could not take it anymore and fought with Xiaofan's lackeys. In the end, they were severely injured. However, Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran did not retaliate. In the end, they only received some elixirs as compensation and settled the matter. As a result, many of the outer disciples of the peak were quite dissatisfied with Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran. But today, Xiaofan vented all the resentment that everyone had been suppressing in their hearts. The word retard seemed to have been scolded on behalf of everyone. Awesome! Senior brother Xiaofan. Well scolded. An outer disciple of this peak could not help but shout. The word senior brother Xiaofan was tantamount to acknowledging Xiaofan's position in the outer court. Just then, impudent. You deserve to die 10,000 times over. How audacious. He's simply courting death. The lackeys standing behind Xiaofan came to their senses, and all of them began to bark like mad dogs. In the blink of an eye, all of them began to emit surging power. Some of them even drew their weapons and were about to charge at Xiaofan. In their anger, they wanted to surround and attack Xiaofan. What? How dare he openly break the rules of the sect? Attack senior brother Xiaofan here? What a bully! Fight! Fight it out with them. Go! When the outer court disciples of this peak saw this, they were all enraged. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of weapons being unsheathed could be heard continuously. Swords were drawn. A large-scale fight was about to take place. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, Xiaofan laughed loudly. His laughter was like a tiger or leopard, shaking the field and enveloping all directions. In an instant, it forcefully shocked the thousands of people present. The scene that had gone out of control instantly quieted down. Good, very good. How many years has it been since someone scolded me like this? Xiaofan narrowed his eyes slightly, and the muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched continuously. Under his skin, a fierce aura burst out, as if there was a ferocious beast that was about to break out of his body and come out to eat people. But he was restraining himself. Xiaofan opened his eyes. His gaze was surprisingly calm, but deep in his eye sockets hid deep resentment and murderous intent. It was as if he would not rest until he was dead. His tone was also terrifyingly calm. You have guts. Very gutsy. You are much more gutsy than Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran. What you said just now is somewhat reasonable. A secret skill is a trump card that is kept secret. It cannot be used to exchange pointers. It can only be used to kill. Xiaohan's heart moved. This Xiaofan is quite a character. When he is arrogant, he is extremely arrogant. However, when he was humiliated by me in front of his face, he was able to endure and did not immediately attack. Instead, he was talking to me leisurely here. This shrewdness is much more powerful than Yang Lei. However, not everyone has the right to humiliate me. Especially a small fry like you who is only at the viscera refinement realm. Xiaofan looked at Xiaofan. I think you and Ling Feiyu's follower, Yang Lei, will fight to decide the winner with one move. My realm is much higher than yours. Due to my status, I will not oppress you. However, I will not allow my dignity to be humiliated by you. Do you dare to fight to the death with me? One of Xiaofan's followers immediately stood up and said, Senior brother, there is no need for you to personally deal with such a lowly person. Let me do it for you. Step down. Xiaofan waved his hand. He stared at Xiaofan without blinking. The resentment and murderous intent in his eyes became more and more intense. When Xiaofan said this, all the outer sect disciples of this mountain tensed up. All of them looked at Xiaofan. Right now, whether Xiaofan agreed or not was related to the dignity of this mountain. If he did not agree, then he would have called him an idiot for nothing. Moreover, it would seem like he was trying to be brave with words. However, most of the outer sect disciples of this mountain still rationally believed that Xiaofan would not agree. After all, Xiaofan was not Yang Lei. Even 10 Yang Lei would not be Xiaofan's match. The difference between Xiaofan and Xiaofan was too great. They were two great realms apart. It was an insurmountable chasm. Unexpectedly, Xiaofan did not speak at all. He directly used his actions to answer Xiaofan. Xiaofan leaped and jumped onto a stage. Good. You have guts. Xiaofan hissed and laughed. With a shake of his feet, he jumped onto the stage in 2 or 3 steps. The two of them clashed. You used one move to deal with Yang Lei. I will also use one move to deal with you. Suddenly, Xiaofan's aura exploded. An indescribable sharpness and fierceness gushed out from his body. As the energy rolled, it covered the heavens and the earth. Boom boom boom, within his body, there was even the sound of 10,000 horses galloping. Oh no! This Xiaofan is going to go all out in one move. This is not a spar. Seeing this, Cho could not help but stomp his feet. And at this moment, Xiaofan's eyes seemed empty. He seemed to be thinking but not thinking. He had entered a mysterious state. The voices from all directions quietened down. It was extremely quiet. All the success and failure, honor and disgrace, were all insignificant. This was a state that Xiaofan unintentionally entered when he was in the demon town. In this state, his grasp of power would reach a superb level. This guy's aura is very strong. It far surpasses Yang Lei. It is even stronger than Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran that I saw with my own eyes. It is even comparable to the outer sect genius of Mingjian Villa, Shangguan Yi. He wants to fight me with one move. Then I cannot use withered wood palm and wooden dragon pillar. I will slowly grind him down. One move then. After the last experience, let me see how powerful my sovereign's descent is now. This Xiaofan, in the last outer sect ranking competition, was ranked 17th. He will be my testing stone. This guy is very strange. Although his realm is low, his understanding of power is extremely strong. I have underestimated him. However, under the absolute difference in realm, my strength is enough to crush him. Xiaofan was also a person with a firm will. He was not affected by the faintly discernible aura that Xiaofan emitted. Suddenly, eagle-snake sky-splitting strike. Xiaofan's left foot stomped on the ground. Wind and clouds gathered under his feet. His strength transformed into a 5 to 6 meter long giant python. It had a head and a tail. It shook its head and chose its target. Bang! Xiaofan's leap broke through the air and he had already arrived in front of Xiaofan. The giant python opened its mouth and bit towards Xiaofan. At the same time, Xiaofan pushed out both of his palms. His strength could topple mountains and overturn seas. His strength transformed into an eagle. It spread its wings and soared. It was agile and sharp. The eagle's claws directly clawed at Xiaofan. Bang! 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 The area where Xiaofan was at cracked and exploded, tearing out a ravine. Dust and smoke filled the air. The arena was simply filled with turbulence. Sand and pebbles flew everywhere. At this moment, the space above Xiaofan's head seemed to break open. The figure of an emperor directly appeared. Suppress the world. No one dares to disobey. Kill all living beings like dust. Sovereign's descent. Xiaofan punched out. When this punch was thrown out, Xiaofan's entire body seemed to have risen several zhang. His momentum was unparalleled. Bang! The two exchanged blows and retreated at the same time. Xiaofan retreated 10 steps. Xiaofan also retreated 10 steps. Xiaofan's clothes were full of holes and his hair was slightly messy. On the other hand, Xiaofan's appearance did not show any abnormalities. Good. This move counts as a draw. However, I still have a secret skill that I have yet to use. Forget it. You are qualified to participate in this year's Outer Sect Disciple ranking competition. We will compete again at that time. Xiaofan said indifferently. Then he directly floated down the arena. Without saying a word, he left with his group of followers. Heh, you have a secret skill that you have up your sleeve. Do you think I don't have one? I still have an emperor's armor that I have yet to use. Xiaofan smiled slightly. This guy's physical defense is not bad. His offense is not as good as that Mingjian Villa's Shangguan Yi, but his defense is slightly stronger. My current attack power and grasp of momentum are much more solid than when I fought against Shangguan Yi. However, if I only use the Sovereign's Descent and not the Emperor's Robe, I will not be able to directly kill a practitioner of Xiaofan's level with a single punch. Ah! Senior brother Xiaofan actually fought to a draw with Zhengshan. It's a draw. Amazing. Too amazing. I didn't even see how senior brother Xiaofan attacked just now. In other words, the third genius of our peak has been born. Senior brother Xiaofan is able to fight to a draw with Zhengshan, who is ranked 17th in the outer sect. In other words, he is completely on par with senior brother Ling Feiyu and senior brother Meng Ran. What do you mean on par? What realm is senior brother Xiaofan at? Organs refinement. What realm are senior brother Ling Feiyu and senior brother Meng Ran at? Blood transformation. Senior brother Xiaofan is able to fight against someone of a higher realm without showing any signs of losing. The difference is obvious. Genius. A genius that shocks the world. Looks like it's time for our peak to rise. At this moment, the outer sect disciples of this peak below the arena were all excited. All of them addressed Xiaofan as senior brother, with a very respectful tone. In Cloud Rain sect, whether it was the outer sect disciples or the inner sect disciples or even the true disciples at the true energy realm, seniority was not based on who entered the sect, age, or even cultivation realm. It was based on combat strength. Whoever had the strongest combat strength would be the senior brother. Xiaofan was able to fight against Zhengshan without being at a disadvantage. Even Zhengshan admitted that it was a draw. Then, without a doubt, he was the senior brother of this group of outer sect disciples. He was not going to pass on the responsibility. Ha! Xiaofan smiled slightly and jumped off the arena. Xiaofan. You actually grew to such an extent. It's simply unbelievable. Ah Cho immediately jumped over. Xiaofan, you're too amazing. Then, he said softly. I'm afraid that even senior brother Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran wouldn't dare to say that they can win against you for sure. Hehe, I still have to cultivate more. Senior brother Ah Cho, my little bit of cultivation is nothing. Xiaofan said honestly. If a martial artist at the true energy realm wants to kill me, it's just a finger. Moreover, I still don't know the situation of the martial artists at the physical body realm from the other sects and empires. Senior brother Ah Cho, you can't be blinded by a single leaf. On the mountain path down the mountain. Zhengshan walked quickly with a group of followers. Zhengshan did not say a word. His face was terrifyingly cold. Senior brother, why did you only use one move? Senior brother, you still have many ultimate moves that you haven't used. If you continue to fight, that kid will definitely not be able to withstand it. It's only a matter of time before he is killed by senior brother. Senior brother, it seems like you're kind-hearted and let that kid go. Senior brother is repaying evil with kindness. Such sentiments, TSK. Shut up. Suddenly, Zhengshan roared. In the next moment, his face was like a golden paper. Suddenly, PFFF. A big mouthful of blood spurted out from Zhengshan's mouth. What? Senior brother, you're injured? How is this possible? Immediately after, PFFF. Zhengshan continuously vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood. His face suddenly turned pale and he knelt down in an instant. PFFF. Another mouthful of blood spurted out. Then, he immediately fainted. Senior brother is injured. Quickly help him up. Do you have any healing medicine on you? Quickly take it out. Quick. Senior brother is seriously injured. The group of followers were completely terrified. Unexpectedly, after Zhengshan exchanged one move with Xiaofan, he continuously vomited 5 mouthfuls of blood before he even left the mountain. Then, he fainted and lost consciousness. P.S. Staying up late to update, seeking recommendation tickets and Sanjiang tickets. Also, recommend a super cool good book. Chapter 50. What was rare was that his expression was still so tranquil, as if the battle between him and Xiaofan from before was only a small matter that could be casually discussed. This kind of bearing moved people. Xiaofan. You must have had a fortuitous encounter when you went out to train. Otherwise, it would be impossible for you to fight Xiaofan and not be at a disadvantage. Ah Cho looked at Xiaofan with a shocked gaze, but he quickly changed the topic. Alright. Xiaofan, I won't ask you any more. Martial artists have their own fortuitous encounters and have their own secrets. Getting to the bottom of things is a taboo. Right, Xiaofan, the move you used to defeat Yang Lei was a martial skill from the Withered Tree treasure record, right? Powerful. Too powerful. Yeah, senior brother Ah Cho, cultivate the Withered Tree treasure record properly. I don't dare to say anything else, but if you encounter martial artists like Yang Lei in the future, you will be able to deal with them. Xiaofan smiled. Great. I never thought that I, Ah Cho, would have a day where I can stand out. Xiaofan, this is all thanks to you. Ah Cho smiled with a fascinated expression. The two of them arrived at the mountainside area where there were many stalls. They walked side by side into the store where they bought the medicinal pills last time. Ah Cho, you brought your friend here to buy medicinal pills again? The owner of this store, the amiable middle-aged fatty, Boss Ma, welcomed them with a smile. He looked at Xiaofan with a strange look in his eyes and blurted out. Young man, I haven't seen you for a few months. Your aura is actually so smooth and steady. You've reached the peak of organs refinement? Xiaofan didn't answer directly and only said. Boss Ma, can I trouble you to introduce me to the various medicinal pills for marrow refinement? As expected. You've already started marrow refinement. The last time you came here to buy organs refinement medicinal pills. You've just started organs refinement at that time. TSK, your improvement is godly. You're a genius. Boss Ma was moved. Then, he passed a piece of paper filled with tiny words to Xiaofan. Young man, as usual, there are all kinds of marrow refinement medicinal pills on this piece of paper. Choose the price yourself. Alright, thank you, Boss Ma. Xiaofan took the paper and glanced at it. In the physical body realm, marrow tempering was much more troublesome and difficult than viscera tempering, bone tempering, and skin tempering. It was not that easy to cultivate. The method to refine one's marrow was to consume a marrow refining elixir. However, this kind of marrow refining elixir was not directly absorbed by the body. Instead, it was turned into granules and adhered to the surface of the bones. The granules would then slowly seep into the bone marrow from the surface of the bones. The medicinal effects would then settle in the bone marrow. In order to refine the marrow, one must first have a good foundation. One must refine the bones to a certain degree and refine the viscera well. Only then would the bones be able to effectively absorb the medicinal power. For example, a martial artist at Ah Cho's level, although he had reached the peak of the organ refinement aspect in theory, but he was still lacking by a bit. So even if he took a pill to refine the marrow, it would settle on the surface of his bones and he would not be able to absorb it. If one wanted to refine one's marrow well, it depended on three aspects. Firstly, he had a good innate aptitude. With a good aptitude, one would be able to absorb the medicinal energy of the marrow refinement pill at a much faster rate than others. This was a congenital condition that could not be forced. Secondly, it was the marrow refining elixir. If the quality of the elixir was good, the absorption would be relatively faster. Furthermore, a good elixir would contain fewer impurities and more medicinal energy. On the contrary, a cheap and inferior elixir would usually have more impurities and less medicinal energy. The bones would absorb for half a day but would not be able to absorb much nutrients. Thirdly, it was acquired diligence. The medicinal energy of the marrow refinement pill adhered to the surface of the bones. Other than the bones automatically absorbing it, one could also continuously practice martial skills or even fight with others, resulting in physical exhaustion. This would allow the medicinal granules adhered to the surface of the bones to completely dissolve and finally settle in the bones, becoming one with the bone marrow. In refining the marrow, the innate aptitude was congenital. Medicinal pills and hard training were acquired. Almost all three were indispensable. It was very, very difficult. The human body had 206 bones. The marrow of every bone must be permeated with medicinal energy to change the quality of the bone marrow. Even if there was one bone without medicinal energy, the marrow refinement pill would not be considered complete. Moreover, when Xiaofan saw the price on the paper, he understood that the marrow refinement pill was very expensive. Fundamental marrow refinement pill. 50 true martial coins for 1. This pill has many impurities and the quality is not high. Ice Bear Marrow Strengthening Pill. 200 true martial coins for 1. Soul Nourishing Pill. 200 true martial coins for 1. Leopard Embryo Marrow Cleansing Pill. 500 true martial coins for 1. Misty Cloud Flower. Spirit Grass Type, 1000 true martial coins for 1. 1000-year Mystic Turtle Blood. 20,000 true martial coins for 1 bottle. Who? Marrow refinement pill is extremely difficult and requires a large amount of medicinal pills. The human body has 206 bones, and every bone must be permeated with medicinal energy. This is not something that can be achieved with just 1 or 2 medicinal pills. No wonder so many outer court disciples are stuck in the marrow refinement realm all year round. Xiaofan sighed. He immediately gritted his teeth and took out the 10,000 true martial coins that he won from Yang Lei today. He pondered for a moment and said to Boss Ma. Boss Ma, I want 20 leopard embryo marrow cleansing pills. A single transaction was worth 10,000 true martial coins. This was definitely a big deal. Boss Ma did not dare to be negligent. He diligently put the 20 leopard embryo marrow cleansing pills into a big bottle and presented it to Xiaofan with both hands. Xiaofan put the bottle in his pocket and said, Boss Ma, according to your experience, how far can 20 leopard embryo marrow cleansing pills be used to refine the marrow? Young man, the leopard embryo marrow cleansing pill is a low-grade marrow refinement pill. Each pill contains about 50% impurities and 50% essence. 20 pills can cover 80 bones. Of course, absorbing the medicinal energy will depend on your bone structure and hard work. According to my experience, if a martial artist with an ordinary aptitude takes these 20 pills and practices diligently every day, it will take about 2 years for the medicinal power to be completely absorbed and settled in the bone marrow. However, young man, I can see that your cultivation speed is godly and can be called monstrous. I'm afraid it won't take that long. Boss Ma replied attentively. Yes, I understand. Xiaofan nodded and immediately spent thousands of true martial coins to buy a lot of marrow refinement pills for Ah Cho. Ah Cho was very grateful. The two of them took the medicinal pills and left the shop. Xiaofan, you are really my brother. Ah Cho said with tears in his eyes. Ha ha ha, senior brother Ah Cho, you are too polite. Xiaofan said indifferently. We are good friends. What are some true martial coins? Furthermore, senior brother Ah Cho has decided to participate in this year's outer sect disciple ranking competition. I will naturally do my best. Now that you have medicinal pills and martial techniques, senior brother Ah Cho can go into closed-door cultivation. Yes. I will definitely go into closed-door cultivation. Ah Cho vowed solemnly and looked towards Xiaofan. Xiaofan, you are going to participate in this year's outer sect disciple ranking competition too? I want to get first place. Xiaofan blurted out. Ah Cho was overjoyed. That's great. Xiaofan, if you can really become the champion of the outer sect disciple ranking competition and become the #1 of our Cloud Rain sect's outer sect disciples, then I will be proud. Ha ha ha. Furthermore, the reward for first place is very generous. However, Xiaofan, the top 3 last year all had great luck, great fortuitous encounters, great perseverance, great wisdom and great bone structure. You cannot let your guard down. Zheng Shan, who fought with you today, was only ranked 17th. The higher the ranking, the greater the difference in battle strength. Last year's 3rd place instantly defeated the 4th place in one move. In fact, the top 5 disciples are all half-step true Qi cultivators, and they can compete with many inner disciples. Senior brother Ah Cho, I will also make use of this opportunity to cultivate properly. I will also go into closed-door cultivation. Xiaofan's confidence did not waver at all. His will was already as firm as a rock. Let's go, Xiaofan. Let's all go back and train hard. In the outer sect disciple ranking competition half a year later, I will fight for my pride and reputation. You will suppress everyone and take the crown. Ah Cho said excitedly. At this moment, Senior brother Xiaofan, Senior brother Xiaofan. A young female disciple, who looked like a pretty girl from a humble family, ran towards Xiaofan with a red face. Xiaofan was stunned. Xiaofan. Senior brother Xiaofan. That young female disciple did not dare to look up at Xiaofan. She was extremely shy and said softly. Senior brother Xiaofan, the 3 principals want to see you. They want you to go to the summit plaza immediately. Oh? They want to see me now? Didn't they say they would find me in a few days and reward me with elixirs and martial skill manuals? Xiaofan could not help but mutter. That female disciple laughed and said. Senior brother Xiaofan, the news of your fight with Zheng Shan has already spread to the 3 principals. They are wild with joy and want to summon senior brother Xiaofan now. Is that so? Xiaofan laughed involuntarily. This news really spreads fast. The female disciple quickly looked up at Xiaofan. Once she met Xiaofan's gaze, she lowered her head and said. Senior martial brother Xiaofan, this kind of news spreads like wildfire. Not only our summit, at most tomorrow, the entire outer sect's 10 peaks, senior brother Xiaofan, will become famous and completely rise. Yes, Xiaofan, you are famous. The fight with Zheng Shan will make you completely famous in the outer sect. Ah Cho said seriously at the side. Alright, I will go to the summit now. Xiaofan shook his head and laughed. After walking a few steps, that female disciple seemed to have mustered up her courage and shouted behind Xiaofan. Senior brother Xiaofan. I saw that when you fought with Zheng Shan today, your clothes had a lot of holes. I will come over tonight to mend it for you, is that okay? Xiaofan was shocked and immediately walked to the summit in 2 or 3 steps. He only heard the female disciple talking with Ah Cho. Cho, where is senior brother Xiaofan's courtyard? Bring me there. Never mind, you should ask Xiaofan yourself. On the summit. Xiaofan saw the 3 principals. Ha ha ha. Xiaofan. What a good Xiaofan. The 3 principals rushed over with flushed faces and surrounded Xiaofan. Xiaofan. We know that you have improved after returning from this experiential learning, but we still misjudged. You actually improved to this level. Killing Yang Lei in a single move. But, to be able to fight Zheng Shan to a standstill in a single move, this is simply unheard of. What realm are you in? You're the Viscera Refinement. A Viscera Refinement martial artist did not lose a single move against a blood transformation martial artist. This has never happened before in the history of our Cloud Rain sect. Xiaofan. You have gained face for the 3 of us. Let us sweep away our bad luck and completely hold our heads up high. Xiaofan, do you know how humiliated we were in the past? In front of the principals of the other peaks, we could almost say that we could not even lift our heads. After all, our peak was lacking in talents and only produced Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran. They could only be said to be ordinary geniuses. Great, you have risen. You have gained face for us and we can finally lift our heads up and say a few words. Ha ha ha. Awesome, the three principals were full of praise for Xiaofan and praised him to the heavens. He even said some nonsense like no one in the past and no one in the future, causing Xiaofan to have goosebumps all over his body. After a long time, the three principals finally got to the main topic. Xiaofan, we have reported the matter of your training this time and the higher-ups have given you a reward. In terms of elixirs, if there are no surprises, it should be a supreme-grade marrow refinement elixir, one of the principals said with a radiant expression. Yes, that's good. I am preparing to refine my marrow and am stockpiling elixirs, Xiaofan replied immediately. Marrow refinement requires too many elixirs to expend. I am poor and cannot afford it. I hope that the three elders will put in a few good words for me and reward me with more marrow refinement elixirs. Don't worry, Xiaofan. We will go to the higher-ups later. Even if we have to waste our breath, we will definitely fight for the greatest benefits for you. Who else should we groom if not you? One of the principals took charge of everything and said. Ling Feiyu and Meng Ran did not stand up for us and gain face like you did. You must be groomed. Another principal continued the conversation immediately. There's one more thing. It's to choose martial technique manuals. Xiaofan, you are going to start refining your marrow now. So, we suggest that you choose a weapon and get the higher-ups to bestow you a weapon cultivation manual. Weapon? Xiaofan frowned. According to the rules of Cloud Rain sect, once a disciple reached marrow refinement, he would have the right to learn and use weapons. This experience had made Xiaofan deeply understand that with a suitable weapon in hand, one's combat power would increase by several times. Xiaofan, listen to me. Under normal circumstances, cultivating a weapon is slightly more difficult than cultivating fist, leg, palm and finger techniques. After all, it is easier to control fist, leg, palm and finger techniques. However, weapons are external objects. To cultivate it to the acme of perfection and wield it like a finger, one would require a deep comprehension. Furthermore, weapons include sword chi, sword force, sword intent, saber chi, saber force and saber intent. These are extremely mysterious but can multiply one's combat strength. It's even more difficult to cultivate them, one of the principals explained patiently. Xiaofan, let me put it this way. Those who can use weapons exquisitely and reach the acme of perfection are all experts. Their combat strength is extremely terrifying. Even the top 3 of the previous outer sect disciple ranking competition. Apart from being skilled in fist and leg techniques, they have also mastered their own sword techniques, saber techniques, and so on. The number 1 of the outer sect, Shuejianfeng, has even comprehended a bit of sword intent that can destroy the void force. His combat strength cannot be evaluated by normal standards. He is a genius who had a fortuitous encounter. Shuejianfeng, sword intent. Xiaofan frowned slightly. However, his mind was extremely strong and he was as steady as a rock. After hearing the 3 principals' high evaluation of his enemy, Shuejianfeng, there was no shadow or fear in his heart as he replied calmly, "That's right. If you have a weapon, at least killing demons will be more advantageous than fighting with your fists." So, Xiaofan, in terms of martial technique manuals, are you going to choose a weapon manual? One of the principals asked. Yes, as the 3 principals have said, I will choose a weapon manual, Xiaofan nodded. In terms of fist techniques, he already had the Son of Heaven's fist. However, he knew nothing about weapons. It was time for him to learn about weapons. Alright. So, Xiaofan, think about it now. Which weapon should you cultivate? One of the managers said seriously. You can't choose a weapon randomly. You have to choose a weapon that suits your temperament. For example, you can't choose a sword just because you like it. Maybe your temperament is compatible with a saber. Also, sabers and swords are known as the two greatest weapons in martial arts. However, they are also the most difficult to cultivate. Among the 18 types of weapons and the 10 greatest weapons, Xiaofan, how you choose a weapon is not based on your preferences. You have to choose the one that suits you the best, the one that can bring out the most power. Do you understand? For example, the number 1 outer sect disciple, Xiaofan, was born with a deep understanding of the sword Dao. He created his own way and cultivated sword skills. He made tremendous progress as if he was born for the sword. However, if he were to learn the saber or the staff, he would never be able to achieve what he has achieved today. I understand. Xiaofan nodded. Then, Xiaofan, we will take you to the armory of our mountain. Among the 18 types of weapons and the 10 greatest weapons, you have to carefully comprehend them. Use your spirit to feel and understand them. See what weapon you have the most affinity with and what weapon suits your temperament the most. The 3 principals said eagerly, after choosing a weapon, we will report it to our superiors and receive a weapon manual. Okay. Xiaofan was also a little eager. P.S. Everyone, guess what weapon the protagonist has the most affinity with? Chapter 51. Without stopping, the 3 leaders brought Xiaofan to the armory on the mountainside for him to choose a weapon. Xiaofan was very clear that once he had a weapon, his combat power would increase by a lot. At the same time, he would have another trump card to defeat his enemies. As a matter of fact, Xiaofan's trump cards were still very few. The 2 moves of the deadwood treasured record would be slightly strenuous against someone like Xingshan. Only the 2 moves of the Son of Heaven's divine fist were presentable. The indestructible golden body was a passive defensive technique. His biggest trump card, the demon god's palm, could not be exposed. It seems that what I have learned is really limited. Participating in this year's outer sect ranking competition is a competition of strength and trump cards. If I reveal too much of my strength in the competition, my opponents will be on guard. Xiaofan understood. Cultivating more martial skills is the way to go. As for choosing a weapon, Xiaofan subconsciously wanted to choose a sword. There was no other reason. Back in the small town, Senior Marshal Brother Fang's peerless sharpness could cut through everything. It was too cool, too fierce, too domineering. Senior Marshal Brother Fang was the strongest person Xiaofan had ever seen with his own eyes. Naturally, Xiaofan wanted to imitate him. He. If one day, I can be like Senior Marshal Brother Fang, carrying a sword on my back and going to a small town full of demons by myself. With a single sword, I can destroy the town and kill all the demons. How cool would that be? TSK. Xiaofan's mind started to wander. However, he quickly remembered the warning of the 3 leaders. Choosing a weapon must not be based on personal preference. If he did not choose the right weapon, it would be the same as marrying the wrong man. It would be a waste of time and energy. The loss outweighed the gain. Oh right, the 3 leaders, how can I choose a weapon that matches my temperament and is fated to be with me? Xiaofan tilted his head and asked. Right now, Xiaofan could be said to be the favorite of the 3 leaders and was highly regarded. Therefore, they would answer Xiaofan's questions. Xiaofan, your question is very mysterious. It could even be said that it could only be understood and not conveyed. To put it simply, when you're faced with all kinds of weapons, there will always be one that makes you feel very close to it. You'll have to choose a weapon by yourself. In any case, we have plenty of time. When we reach the armory, we'll leave you alone. You can try holding each weapon in your hands and see if there's a different feeling, one of the managers replied. Then, the storage ring on his right index finger flashed with a dim light. Suddenly, a weapon appeared in the manager's hand. This weapon flickered with a dim light and gave off a cold aura, but its shape was extremely peculiar. This weapon was 6 feet long, with crescent-shaped blades of the same length on both ends. There were 3 small iron rings on the back of the saber, which made a rustling sound when it was swung slightly. The handle was made of hard wood, and the handle was in the middle of the blade, with ribbons on it. This is a saber? Or what? Xiaofan had never seen such a strange weapon before. Xiaofan, this is my unique weapon, the cosmic lunisolar saber. In today's world, there are very few martial artists who know how to use this weapon. When the manager looked at the weapon in his hand, his eyes shone with a very strange expression, as if he was looking at a friend. He gently stroked the surface of the saber and said with a faint smile, "When I was young, I wanted to choose a heavenly halberd or a heavy weapon like a big axe or a big hammer. However, when I was choosing a weapon in the armory, I didn't know why, but I suddenly found this cosmic lunisolar saber in the corner. Once I picked it up, I couldn't bear to put it down. It was as if I knew that this fellow was destined to accompany me for the rest of my life. Situ, this cosmic lunisolar saber of yours is very powerful, and its trajectory is tricky. When you use it, it feels like the wind is blowing pear blossoms, and your whole body is covered with sabers, with no openings to exploit." Another manager said with a smile. "Oh, 3 managers, this disciple seems to have understood something." Xiaofan nodded thoughtfully. At this time, the 3 managers had already brought Xiaofan to the armory halfway up the mountain. On the old mottled iron door, there was an iron lock, which gave off a fierce and chilling feeling. "Xiaofan, this is the key to the armory. Go in and choose yourself, don't be anxious. Take your time. You must choose well. In addition, all the weapons in the armory are made of ordinary fine iron. There are no precious weapons. It is even more impossible to have ancient weapons. However, they are all made by the hands of skilled craftsmen. Compared to the low-quality weapons in the Jianghu, they are several times better." One of the managers handed the key to the armory to Xiaofan. "All right, this disciple will go in and choose a weapon now." Xiaofan walked over in 2 or 3 steps, unlocked the lock, and pushed with his hand. The heavy iron door opened with a sound. Immediately, Xiaofan's vision blurred, and he felt a burst of cold air rushing towards him. His hair stood on end. Looking closely, the armory had more than 10 rows of weapon racks arranged in an orderly manner. The racks were filled with a dazzling array of weapons. Although they were all ordinary weapons, they gave off an intimidating feeling. It gave off the feeling of a powerful army conquering the country. Xiaofan hurriedly walked in and closed the iron door. Looking around, he saw that the racks were filled with all kinds of weapons. There was the most common 3-foot sword, 4-foot sword, 7-foot sword, Meridian Mandarin Duck dual swords, thick back saber, ghost head saber, willow leaf saber. There were also long spears, long sticks, hooks, forks, whips, maces, hammers. A weapon rack was filled with all kinds of strange weapons. Below each of the strange weapons was a description. Water splitter, wind flame wheel, 510 direction saber, sun and moon universe saber. There was a complete range of weapons, and everything was there. There are so many weapons, which one should I choose? Xiaofan frowned. He could not decide. Subconsciously, Xiaofan walked to the front of the sword-type weapons rack, and directly took out the most commonly used 4-foot cyan steel sword and held it in his hand. The sword's blade glowed like a clear spring, and it gave off a feeling of being able to cut through hair. However, when Xiaofan held this sword, he did not feel any sense of familiarity. Instead, it gave off a kind of lousy feeling, and was very uncomfortable. Could it be that I am really not suited to use a sword? Xiaofan sighed and put the sword away. Then, he strolled around the armory, looking here and there, trying out all kinds of weapons in his hand, trying to find the familiar feeling that the few managers had mentioned. A full 2 hours passed. Saber, spear, halberd, staff, even some strange weapons, Xiaofan took them and waved them around. However, he could not find that mysterious feeling of familiarity. It can't be. Could it be that I, Xiaofan, am destined to be empty-handed for the rest of my life? How boring would that be? Xiaofan felt a headache coming on. Impossible. I, Xiaofan, should be able to find a suitable weapon. Xiaofan racked his brains, and his mind quickly turned. The next moment, got it. Xiaofan's eyes lit up. Suddenly, Xiaofan sat cross-legged and emptied his mind. His eyes seemed empty, as if he was thinking, but not thinking. The surroundings suddenly became extremely quiet. Xiaofan had actually entered a state of enlightenment. After an unknown period of time, suddenly, Xiaofan clearly felt that in the armory that displayed the 18 types of weapons and the 10 great weapons, there were a few weapons that seemed to have established a very strange connection with his mind. They were spear-type weapons, axe-type weapons, saber-type weapons, and hammer-type weapons. Just these 4 weapons. As for the others, such as swords, whips, and staffs, they had no connection with Xiaofan's mind. They were as still as stagnant water. Oh! It seems that my temperament should be more compatible with the spear, axe, saber, and hammer. As for the way of the sword, I am afraid it is not fated with me. I do not have this kind of subtle spiritual connection with the sword. It seems that if I force myself to practice the way of the sword, it will end with a grievance, and I will not be able to obtain its essence. Xiaofan stood up. Fortunately, there are spear, axe, saber, and hammer for me to choose from. Xiaofan directly walked over and first held a long spear in his hand. Now that Xiaofan had opened up his mind, and under the penetration of his mental strength, he had established a connection with these 4 weapons that could only be understood, but not expressed. Therefore, with the long spear in his hand, his heart also palpitated. In fact, Xiaofan did not know that he had already been in the armory for a few hours. The sky had already darkened, and night had fallen. Outside the armory, it seems that Xiaofan has not found the most suitable weapon for himself. This young man is calm and has a firm will. I don't think he will casually choose a weapon. Alright, let's go back first. We will come back tomorrow. A manager said with a smile. Let's go. Let Xiaofan choose slowly. There is no rush. Don't rush him. Choosing a weapon is not a trivial matter. Inside the armory, Xiaofan spent a few more hours trying out spears, axes, sabers, and hammers. However, he was unable to differentiate between any of the 4 weapons. This caused Xiaofan to once again fall into a whirlpool where he had to make a decision. These 4 weapons seem to be the same to me. What I need to do is to close my eyes and randomly choose one from the saber, spear, axe, and hammer. Xiaofan touched his nose. Wait! Suddenly, a ray of spiritual light flashed into Xiaofan's mind. Xiaofan immediately held the long spear in his hand. With a thought, the Emperor's great power suddenly broke through the air. As the energy surged, Xiaofan wore the Emperor's robe and looked down on the world. He was insufferably arrogant. As he looked down, the wind and clouds surged. His entire temperament had completely changed. Under the support of the Emperor's great power, the long spear did not have any special reaction. Xiaofan directly threw the long spear away. Then he changed to the axe. Under the Emperor's great power, the axe seemed too mediocre. Then it was the hammer. The hammer even seemed to have some repulsion with the Emperor's great power. Finally, it was the saber. Xiaofan held the saber in his hand, and the Emperor's great power spread unrestrainedly. Suddenly, buzz! The blade of the ordinary-looking saber actually let out a light whistling sound. A sharp ray of light shone from the saber. What? The saber and the Emperor's great power are extremely compatible. Xiaofan was shocked. In an instant, the Emperor's great power actually had a feeling of fusing into the saber in Xiaofan's hand. What? This saber is moving. Xiaofan's eyes focused and saw that the saber in his hand was slightly throbbing. At this moment, the saber seemed to have been given a life. A kind of domineering aura. A kind of sharpness. Ha 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 ha. Saber. I know. Saber like the Emperor. Saber like the Emperor. Xiaofan seemed to have gone mad. The saber is domineering and direct. There is no sword soul-stirring. There is no spears valiant and formidable. There is no blade's craftiness. Only the white saber enters and the red saber comes out. Delightful. Decisive killing. I, Xiaofan, have finally found the most suitable weapon for myself. It is the saber. From now on, I, Xiaofan, will focus on the Tao of the saber. I want to be a peerless saber user. With a thought in his mind, Xiaofan waved the saber in his hand and slashed with the Emperor's great power. A faint saber chi directly shot up to the sky. Pooh! A roof tile in the armory was sent flying. It was already the morning of the next day. The three managers came to the armory and chatted while waiting for Xiaofan. Shockingly, pooh! A piece of roof tile was blown away by the chi and shattered into pieces in the air, scattering in all directions. What? That looks like saber chi. What is going on? One of the managers was shocked. That's right, it is saber chi. Although it is very faint and weak, I am sure that it is saber chi that can only be produced by a saber user. Also, this saber chi contains a faint intent realm, like the Tao of the Emperor and his subjects. Another manager's eyes shone with a strange light. He squinted his eyes and said with a trembling voice. There is a rumor in the Jianghu that only natural saber users will have this kind of situation when they hold a saber for the first time in their lives. This kind of person cultivates the Tao of saber and improves at lightning speed. It is as easy as eating and drinking. Xiaofan. Could it be? Let's go. Let's go in and have a look. Quick. This is a big matter, not a small matter. Inside the armory. It can't be. Just now, there seemed to be a burst of saber chi. Under the influence of the Son of Heaven's great power, this saber really came to life, as if it had its own dignity. Xiaofan's mind was greatly shaken, and he quickly withdrew the Son of Heaven's great power. He then took a few deep breaths, suppressed his excitement, and walked out with his saber in hand. As soon as Xiaofan walked out of the armory, the three managers bumped into him. When they saw the saber in Xiaofan's hand, they had the illusion that the saber and the man were made in heaven. Xiaofan, you really chose the saber. One of the managers said with a serious expression. Xiaofan, I am asking you now. You must answer me seriously. This matter is very important. What is it? Xiaofan was shocked. Have you never practiced the Tao of saber in your life and never used a saber? The manager stared at Xiaofan without blinking. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Xiaofan nodded solemnly. Then, why did a saber chi burst out from the armory? You should know that all the sabers in the armory are ordinary iron sabers. It is impossible for them to produce saber chi. Moreover, you have never practiced the Tao of saber. The manager's expression was extremely nervous. Oh. When this disciple was holding this saber, I felt a very mysterious feeling. It was very subtle. A light hum burst forth from the saber's body, and a stream of saber chi inexplicably slashed out. Xiaofan pretended to be deaf and acted dumb as he spoke. The Emperor's aura could not be casually mentioned. A natural-born saber user. The three managers screamed at the same time. Their breathing was extremely heavy. Managers, what is going on? Xiaofan pretended to be terrified. Alright, Xiaofan, you don't need to ask about this. In short, you will achieve great things in the Tao of Saber. You might even be able to comprehend the 1 in 10,000 saber intent. One of the managers said with a trembling voice. Xiaofan, you should choose the saber. We will report this matter. Don't worry, there are plenty of saber manuals for you to choose from. I'm not afraid of not having any saber manuals for you, I'm just afraid that you won't want to learn. I will choose the saber. Xiaofan said smoothly. The heavens have pity on us. The three of us have been in charge of this peak for many years. We have been mediocre and have not nurtured any outstanding talents. Who would have thought, ha ha ha, we actually produced such an outstanding talent like Xiaofan. And he is a rare genius in the Tao of Saber. That's great. One of the managers even had tears rolling in his eyes. Alright, Xiaofan, put away your saber now. When you come back, I will get someone to send a few good sabers to your courtyard. Now, you will come with us. One of the managers said to Xiaofan. Where are the three managers bringing me to? Xiaofan was stunned. To observe the ceremony. One of the managers' face turned slightly ugly. Today, a few outer sect managers of the Valley of Medicine Masters are coming to our sect mainly to discuss the marriage between the number 1 genius of the Cloud Rain sect, Xianfeng, and a female outer sect disciple of the Valley of Medicine Masters. The manager of the peak that Xianfeng is at is very arrogant. He has already invited the managers of the 10 peaks of the outer sect and some elite outer sect disciples to observe the ceremony. He is just showing off. You should know that to be able to marry a female disciple of the Valley of Medicine Masters is an extremely glorious thing. Xianfeng? Xiaofan's eyes turned slightly cold. The three managers did not notice the change in Xiaofan's expression. One of the managers continued. Let's go, Xiaofan. Come with us to have a look. You can also witness the peerless elegance of the number 1 outer sect disciple of the Cloud Rain sect, Xianfeng. It will broaden your horizons. Alright, I will go and have a look. Xiaofan replied softly. He lowered his head and a murderous look flashed across his eyes. He thought to himself. Xianfeng, I have seen him before. Peerless elegance? One day, I'll beat him to a pulp in front of everyone's eyes. I will let everyone witness his peerless elegance. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.